can. You can catch us if you can on social media, on Twitter.com. We're exclusively on Twitter.com at Ellison Report, hashtag reality check. Also go to our companion hybrid newsletter online magazine, The B Note. That is the companion, the official companion magazine to Reality Check, WURD, thebenote.com. You can see our latest political hot take, our latest analysis on the historic pick of Senator Kamala Harris as Vice President Joe Biden's running mate. So I crunched even some polling numbers for you there. So go to thebenote.com. In the meantime, let's get started. At the top of this 10 o'clock hour, we welcome Philadelphia City Commissioner Lisa Dealey, who is the lead official for elections, for administering elections in the city of Philadelphia. Go to philadelphiavotes.com for more information on your city commissioner's office and also for questions on exactly how they will be officiating this really major election that's coming up. We're actually pretty much in the midst of it now, and also at Philly Votes on social media, particularly on Twitter for more there. Commissioner Dealey, how are you doing?
Good morning. Very well, thank you. How are you?
All right. Good. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate this. Also, if there are folks out there who have questions for the commissioner, 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900. So, Commissioner, what are we doing as far as polling locations throughout Philadelphia? Are we going to open all polling locations in Philadelphia, or many more than we had opened on June 2nd?
Oh, yeah. So June 2nd, the Pennsylvania legislature gave counties throughout the state the ability to consolidate polling locations and divisions. So we don't foresee that opportunity in November. So we are planning for an election in November where each division will stand up on its own as it has historically. As for regarding actual polling places, we are working hard to have the maximum number of polling places that we can, but voters should recognize that there will be some polling locations that we'll have to move. For example, firehouses, senior centers, health centers, because of the current COVID-19 pandemic, they will not be available to us. But we are looking to have the maximum number of polling places.
So when we say maximum number, definitely more than the 180 plus that were open on June 2nd, because before we used to have 800 polling locations throughout the city of Philadelphia. So are we going to get as near to 800?
We're working towards the 800 is our goal.
Okay, excellent. And so because that's a concern there. And I know that there are public health concerns, and we want to keep social distancing. We want to make sure that these places are as hygienic and sanitized as possible. But these are like grocery stores, right? I mean, we're going to the grocery store every day, and it's kind of the same sort of spatial dynamics. So what are we doing in terms of the sanitation and hygiene? I wouldn't think by this time we've learned so much that this shouldn't be much of a big ask or a big task to keep these spaces clean or free of COVID-19 infection.
Well, just as we did in the primary, we will be supplying for our poll workers PPE, face shields, sanitizing wipes, hand sanitizer. There'll be gloves provided for voters who don't have one. Voters will be asked to use a single-use glove on the voting machine, and we will again do all that we can to provide and promote social distancing as well as a sanitized polling location. One of the big factors that makes it different than going to the grocery store is that we have to rely on our neighbors, our poll workers, to run these sites, and a lot of them, most of them are in the most at-risk category. So that's a challenge. And we are working through that challenge very diligently with regard to, finding other people that would be interested. If any of your listeners are interested in working the polls, they should reach out and contact, our office. That's a big challenge.
Because it sounds like you got a staffing shortage problem there. Is your office being aggressive in reaching out or campaigning to younger potential poll. You told me before that there's this student poll worker program that the city commissioner's office has put together. I go to the Philadelphia Votes website. I don't see any indication of it. I don't see any sign that the commissioner's office, that the city is aggressively campaigning to have young people, like young people 17, 18 years of age, working at those polling stations. We have a situation where the vast majority of people who are working at polling locations are over the age of 65. And so, what's going on? I mean, is there any effort?
I mean, there is an effort, and one thing that you should be aware of is that we did not have any student poll worker program until 18, when I put a motion up before the Board of Elections to start this student poll worker program aggressively, and we had a trial of it in the 19 general election, and then we were going to roll it out in robustly in 20, and then the pandemic hit, so we weren't able to do that in the primary. So it may seem that way, but it is like everything else that we seem to be doing these last couple elections. It's
why
new.
not have a page on the website? I don't understand. I
We're
see
working
other
with
cities.
the school district.
Yeah. But wait a second. Why not put a page on the website? Like I see other cities, San Francisco, L.A., San Diego, their elections.
They've been doing it a lot longer. So as we started out,
a page on the website that says, "Hey, we have a special student poll worker program, or we have a poll recruitment program going on. Sign up." How hard is that?
Yeah, no, it isn't. And we are working on a aggressive campaign that's going to begin in a couple weeks to get people. Once we, a big issue for people that want to volunteer to be a poll worker is they want to know where they're going to work. So we have to nail down the polling locations. We have to, be able to give people some idea where we're going to put them before they'll commit to being a poll worker. So, there's a lot of work that goes into that, and it is absolutely on the top of our list. Because we have to, these polls have to be run, and we need poll workers to do that.
Yeah, so go to PhiladelphiaVotes.com. I hope we'll see something there soon, shortly, and definitely, we're here to help with that as much as possible, put the word out about that.
Yeah, we're going to have a button on our website for people that want to be a poll worker, to give us their information. We'll have stuff up there for student poll workers. As I said, we're working with the school district to see if they can get the word out through their channels, obviously. Whatever we can do to get more people.
Have you worked with student groups like Philadelphia Student Union, student unions at the colleges?
Yeah, we worked with some of the colleges and Vote That John. Different groups like that as well.
Yeah, because I know there's always this big conversation about how do we get young people engaged, and I think that this is one of those big ways to do that. How early can people start voting? Can people can start voting now? Correct. I mean, that was another big question. Is okay, we can open up a maximum number of polling locations, but is this all just for election day? Can we expect early voting and early voting well in advance of that big day on November 3rd, so we're not having like big crowds of people and people anxious and feeling also nervous about the public health implications?
So Act 77, what it also allowed, in addition to this no excuse mail-in voting, it allowed for in-person mail-in voting, which is a little different than early voting, but it as much as it's different, it's a lot of the same. So what that will do is it will provide an opportunity for voters to go to satellite locations throughout the city, request a mail-in ballot on the spot, and then that mail-in ballot will be handed to them. They'll be then, directed to a privacy area where they can go and vote that ballot and return it to the board to be voted, to be counted.
Got it. And that starts now. That can start. People can do that now.
It starts 50 days. 50 days before the election, or at such time as the ballot is ready. So the ballot is not ready.
What date is that?
So it'll be sometime after September 14th.
Okay, sometime after September 14th.
Depending on the court challenges and the status of the ballot.
Got it. And real quick, Commissioner, will we know those satellite locations? Will they be?
Oh, yeah.
Will that be transparent?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, there's a huge communications plan that's going to be around all of that, because that's another thing. It's funny, we keep talking about all these things. This is another whole new opportunity for Philadelphians and Pennsylvanians that we've never had before. So certainly we're going to do everything we can with the limitations that we have with the COVID to get this message out and to provide, as you say, another opportunity for people to vote. And I think that some people that may choose not to vote by mail for whatever reason, they're not familiar with it, they don't trust it, they're unsure of it. I think that this satellite early, quote unquote, early location where there will be actual personnel there for voters to interact with might give people some more confidence in that process, and we might see great participation at those vote centers.
I think you will. I like that idea. I like that very much. I was going to ask you about, one other idea, like we talked about this before, were the ballot boxes and about potentially expanding that, a network of ballot boxes. Is that something else also in the works, or we're going to kind of rely more heavily on those satellite locations?
The ballot box discussion is, because we are involved in some current litigation where that discussion is tabled for right now, but they were very popular in the primary.
Got it. So, some folks here on our Facebook live stream, as they're watching us through Word TV, Commissioner, some people say, got Tony Gilbert here, listeners saying, what's taking so long? This needs to be in place already. And also, Roundabout Liggins is asking if you could talk about returning citizens voting, making accommodations for returning or formerly incarcerated citizens. One question I do have, Commissioner, that has been raised before. Philadelphia has a really serious adult illiteracy rate, and this question has been raised before about what are we doing in terms of making this process more accessible. About a quarter of the adult population in Philly is illiterate or functionally illiterate. So how are we making accommodations or adjustments for that?
Well, we have the voting system the new voting system that we have does have the ability to, it has a ADA component that has an ability to read the ballot. People want to hook up to it, and the people that are now able to take the time to have their ballot, mailed to them, or to use the on-demand mail-in ballot, that might help them out a lot. And it comes down to a communication point that people should take the time before Election Day to look at the ballot. The ballot will be available. Once it's finished, you'll be able to go to phillyvotes.com and see your ballot. So you can pretty much make a plan to know what buttons you're going to push and who you're going to vote for. One thing that the listener should know is that we will not be able to vote a straight party in November, which is a huge shift for us. That option will no longer be available due to Act 77. So a lot of people that normally would just go into the booth, push a button, and walk out, they're not going to be able to do that. They have to go
which raises questions about the literacy issue. So we're just saying, like, we will have technology that's ADA compliant or American Disabilities Act compliant to help them, like audio equipment, to kind of help guide them through the process. And will poll workers be trained to offer that kind of guidance? Yeah,
that's another opportunity that we didn't have in June. We were unable to train all our poll workers. So the training component for the poll workers is starting earlier. We're going to have in-person, we're going to have virtual, there's going to be video on our website and available to be texted out and for people to see and review before Election Day.
The other question, someone, two questions here kind of rolled up into one, Commissioner. Lois Rubin Marks, another listener, is saying, we should have already nailed down the satellite location. So, the sooner we get to that, the better. Another listener is saying that she's still waiting for information from her office that she requested over a month ago. I know you're overwhelmed. I know the commissioner's office, every office is overwhelmed. It's a different, unprecedented time, but it's a very important election, as I know you're well aware. So I keep hearing that the level of customer service. Are we being very attentive to the customer when people call in?
I
They're
don't really.
getting a
I mean,
phone-
I would say, and it's important to note, and if whoever that caller is, they can certainly call my office directly at 215-686-3460. And what your listeners should know is the commissioner's office has been open and fully running throughout this whole pandemic. I'm in my office right now with 3 of my staff people. So I mean, I can't answer to what that person has been answering.
Yeah, and it's not just that one person. I mean, I've had a few calls where they're saying, it seems like customer service people, some people are abrupt, are not patient with them, or not. I just feel like people are expecting, and they should expect, Commissioner, a high level of customer service, because we're all in this big moment together. We want to make sure that and it's Pennsylvania's a battleground state. Philly's an important part of that. People have got to be friendly and patient in your office if we're going to be able to get through this smoothly, through this process.
Absolutely, and that has been my whole background: constituent service and customer service. So I take that, that is 90% of what I believe that this role is. I am a public servant. I'm here to serve the people. So if anybody has any unpleasant interaction with anybody on my staff, they can email me directly at lisa.deely@phila.gov. This is what I would like to know about that. Absolutely.
We appreciate that. lisa.deely@phila.gov. We've been talking with, Commissioner Deely, really appreciate your time as always. I know it's a tough time for you, and I know we've got tough questions for you. We just want to make sure that this process, that is my wish here, is not to give you a hard time. It is to make sure that this works, because it's a really important election for all of us, including you and I. So we want to make sure so anything you need to help us help you, just please let me know.
Absolutely. Just to touch back on another question that came up about the incarcerated or returning citizens. In Pennsylvania, everybody, unless you are an incarcerated felon, you have an opportunity to vote in Pennsylvania. And one of my personal issues that I've been working with since becoming a commissioner is I work very closely with the Philadelphia prison system, and Commissioner Carney in particular has been wonderful. We go every 6 months. I go to the prison system. We film a video, an instructional video on how to fill out a voter registration form, how to request a mail-in ballot. We train the social worker staff that does that. It has been, one of my, proudest accomplishments has been able to really develop a great relationship there. Unfortunately, that has been impeded now by this COVID, because we're not allowed to visit or to do that outreach that we've historically done for the past couple of years. But their video is running through closed circuit TV, and we are in constant contact with our partners at the prison system to make sure that people that are awaiting trial, because there's a lot of people that are awaiting trial that are eligible to vote. Okay.
No, that's good to know. We appreciate that, and we'll definitely follow up on that. We've been talking with Philadelphia City Commissioner Lisa Deely. Lisa.Deely@phila.gov if you have questions or concerns about how her office functions, but more importantly, to get information, and they'll be updating this in the coming weeks, PhiladelphiaVotes.com. At Philly Votes on social media. She's been joining us here on Reality Check. I'm sure we'll be talking with her again. Commissioner, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much. Stay safe.
All right, you too. Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Okay, let's take a break, and when we come back on the other side, we'll be talking to the Center for American Progress's Danielle Solomon, going to talk about and unpack that historic selection of Senator Kamala Harris as Vice President Joe Biden's running mate for the 2020 presidential race. Very important pick. Once again, for my analysis, my take on that, I posted that last night on Reality Check's companion magazine, the BENote.com, the BENote.com. The title of that is "We Finally Got a Black Woman Running Mate." So there's some numbers there. Check that out when you get a moment. But let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll have Danielle Solomon of the Center for American Progress coming back to assess that more here on Reality Check 96.1 FM, 900 AM, wordradio.com, Word TV, Word app. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Check out the Source lineup on Word Radio. Mondays, get ready for the Rapping Professor, Dr. Aaron Smith. On Tuesdays, it's Andrea Lawful Sanders. Then on Wednesdays, it's the Black Women's Leadership Council. On Thursdays, it's a second helping of Andrea Lawful Sanders. And on Fridays, it's Tiffany Bacon. Don't miss the Source. Monday through Thursday, 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. and Fridays, 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. Exclusively on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on wordradio.com and on the Word Radio app.
Hey, Word family. Our friends at Amoroso's Baking Company are hiring right now. Amoroso's has been baking the delicious bread in our community for over 100 years, and they want you to join their team today. The old and the young love Amoroso's, and they are hiring right now. Check it out. They offer fair pay and provide health, dental, and prescription plans after 90 days employment. Call 856-754-0355 or visit amorososbaking.com for details.
No fear, just facts. This is WURD, independent Black media.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy.
When the coronavirus is over, what will you have to show for it? A cleaner home, yoga lessons you took online, old pictures of family members, a body a little bigger and heavier, too many refrigerated trips, eating too much, sad memories of family and friends who died or new babies born, talking on Zoom or other platforms with friends and clients for my new job. Learn to stop rushing here and there. Just start talking and playing with your folks. Maybe you got pregnant physically or pregnant with new ideas. May God bless you with peace for great living. Coronavirus is almost over. Folks, what will you have to show for it?
Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on Word Radio and wordradio.com.
That's right. Thank you. Appreciate that, listener. Lean Love posting websites that we just called out before this segment. Once again, go to PhiladelphiaVotes.com. Really, also more importantly, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Secretary of State oversees all election administration in the entire Commonwealth, the big battleground, the very consequential battleground state of Pennsylvania, votespa.com. I remember there was another listener who had emailed me last week was saying, hey, you know what? Even better yet, go to votespa.com for like those mail ballot requests to get information. But continue to go to PhiladelphiaVotes.com because we want to ensure that the city commissioner's office is putting or making available that information about those satellite locations. So that was new news to me. But we want to keep on the commissioner's office making that information as readily available as soon as possible. So continue to check at PhiladelphiaVotes.com. Also, thebenote.com, THEBE note.com. Thank you for that, Lean Love. Go to that's the companion magazine to this program, Reality Check on WURD, and you can see the latest analysis, the assessment on for I just have to make a little calendar adjustment and correction here, but you can see the latest assessment of what's of my analysis on what is happening, the significance of Senator Kamala Harris being selected as Vice President Joe Biden's running mate. We're opening up the phone lines. The phone lines were open, by the way, when we had Lisa Dealey on 215-634-8065. 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check, 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check. Actually, Danielle Solomon is coming on at 10:40, so that's my mistake. Just making a little calendar adjustment here, a little correction on my part. Danielle Solomon coming on at 10:40. 6:40. So she will be on with us in about 10 minutes. But in the meantime, phone lines remain open. 215-634-8065, toll free 866-361-0900. If you have questions too for the city commissioner, we have her email. We also have her direct social media. We also have Philadelphia City Commissioner's office email. One thing about the city commissioner, particularly Lisa Daly, she tries to make herself as publicly available as possible and publicly responsive. So, we can still ask questions, and we do get responses to those questions on social media from time to time. So, it's important. In a moment like this, it's like with Philadelphia's violence and homicide crisis. It's really no room for folks to be petty or to look for an opportunity to play political gamesmanship or to eliminate certain people from certain positions. It's about, finding solutions. It's about trying to solve problems. No one wants a violence crisis in their hometown, right? No one wants a situation where the homicide rate is more than 30% over where it was last year. No one wants a situation where over 100 kids under the age of 18 are victims of gun violence, and only 18% of those shootings, under 20% of those shootings have been solved, or the perpetrators have been caught. No one wants that situation. So, we ask these pointed questions. We press for answers, not because it feels good, not because it's cute, not because we're trying to catch people in gotcha modes. At least this is from me. This is coming from me. This is how I'm operating, because I want people to know and I want people to understand this. And I think we need to set a standard here because we're in very, very crucial, urgent times. We do this because we're looking for solutions. We're looking for ways to sort problems out. We're looking for ways to make things better, to make our community better, to make our streets safer. And frankly, we're in an election now where it's about saving the world. Like literally, this is the election. This is not only a life and death election. This is about saving the world. This is literally voting in this election is everyone's one step towards saving the world. Like this is literally a save the world election that we're coming up on right now. So we all have to act right. So Joe Biden finally picked a black woman running mate. People, particularly in the black commentator class, folks on social media, black folks in general, black family friends, the collective black fan. This is what many of us, most of us, from what I could tell, we're asking for. We asked for that black woman running mate, right? So we got that, and I think that this is a very solid, strong ticket. You have a situation here where now, okay, you look at and I put this at the benote.com, right? This is how strong this ticket is. You had average national polling data for Kamala Harris before she exited the Democratic presidential primary back in November. And they were doing hypothetical matchups between her and Donald Trump. Like in the event she were to become the Democratic nominee while she was still in the primary at that time, how would she fare against Donald Trump? She came out on top at an average of 6 percentage points ahead of Donald Trump. There were a couple of polls I remember that were being taken in Pennsylvania where she was beating Donald Trump in Pennsylvania, in the battleground of Pennsylvania, in a hypothetical matchup. So that's on average nationally 6 percentage points. Joe Biden right now on average is 8 percentage points ahead of Donald Trump. So you have the top Democratic ticket, or the two top names on the Democratic political ticket, both combined having an average 14 national polling percentage points ahead of Donald Trump. These two combined are 14, or a combined average of 14 percentage points ahead of Donald Trump when you combine these two and you match them up against Donald Trump, right? So that made that decision very easy. And I know we had talked about and we had hypothesized and prognosticated about all these other names. And I know there were favorites on my part. I had my own personal favorites on that list. But I'm not hot at all. I'm not angry, upset at all that he didn't pick who I wanted. I am very satisfied with this pick. It's a very solid pick. I understand it, particularly when you look at that very clear, that very precise data point there. 14 points when you combine Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. You are on average nationally 14 percentage points ahead of Donald Trump. That's a nice lead. So now it's time for us to do our part to mobilize and to act and to get into save the world mindset, because that's exactly where we are right now. We can't mess around. We can't play around. Let me go to Sister Murray out of Northern Liberties, who's calling in for a reality check. Sister Murray?
Yes, good morning, Charles.
Hey, good morning.
Thank you so much for receiving my call, and I would like to say excellent pick. He couldn't have picked better.
Right.
Strong black woman, what we needed to move forward. For any reason that Joe Biden cannot move forward after he is elected, we have a black woman president.
Right.
She will fulfill her shoes. She's well qualified.
Mm-hmm.
She knows the law. She knows what's going on in the system. And that is an excellent pick. And
right.
I know right now that number 45 is shaking in his boots. You know why? He has nothing to give this woman, because she will shut him down.
Yeah.
He don't like anybody to stand up to him. And there's nothing,
right.
Inside your household with a black woman in there, you know who's running that household?
Right.
A black woman's running it. And
That's
when
right.
she gets to running her mouth, what happens? You move right on out of her way, because you know that she got that.
Right.
Excellent pick. And thank you, God bless you. You guys keep giving us this platform, and you guys keep getting your membership. Stay focused. Get out there and vote. Do not be shaken by this. Wear your mask, wear your gloves. I don't care if you got to put a whole suit on. Get out there and go vote. God bless you, and have a good day.
All right. You do the same. Blessings at you back, Sister Murray. I appreciate it. Sister Murray's fired up. That's the kind of attitude we need at a moment or in a moment like this. And so do want to hear, people's thoughts, what you think about that selection. Once again, I told people yesterday, don't come on here with the no vote talk. So, particularly people who were asking for the black woman running mate. This is ride or die time. This is the not playing around moment. Okay, so and literally, there are just so many reasons. We're living through these reasons right now. We are struggling through these reasons to vote for this ticket and to effectively unelect the open air, unadulterated evil and corruption and white nationalism that is manifesting and growing with each passing day in the White House. That time is right now. So we have the ticket. It's Biden-Harris. Just like Sister Murray said, Joe Biden couldn't have picked better. I mean, that is a solid pick. It's a solid selection. It's solid in terms of also her visibility, name recognition. She does poll well, as far as just overall national stature and figure. This is also going to be an unprecedented political campaign because there is very limited physical contact or in-person contact. You're going to need someone who's strong in the social media and digital space. That person is Kamala Harris. Joe Biden needs this sister more than she needs him. And he understands that, and he's humbled himself. I got to give it to Joe Biden. I'm not saying Joe Biden has ever been perfect. No one's perfect. I'm not perfect. We're all flawed. So Joe Biden was never that perfect candidate. No candidate ever is. But you got to give it to him. That's a very grown-up thing for him to do, is to pick a woman who pick another candidate. Is very Lincoln-esque for him to do. He picked a rival, a former rival, someone who slammed him, who also, for a moment there, made him very vulnerable during the primary. I mean, at one point, Kamala Harris almost, pretty much, pushed Joe Biden out of the presidential primary. I mean, for a couple of weeks there, it was very shaky for the Biden campaign because of Kamala Harris's attack. She was very effective, but he understood this is the kind of energy I need from my running mate. This is the kind of energy the country needs, particularly if we win the White House. This is the kind of of force that we're going to need, the kind of willpower we're going to need to fix this government, to help fix this country as well. Let me go to Greg out of East Falls, who's calling in for a reality check. Greg?
Yeah, how you doing? You hear me?
Hey, what's happening? Okay, good.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead. What's up? How you doing, Greg?
How you doing there? I forgot Lisa Daly was on. I was trying to get through because I was waiting for her to come on because I've been constantly contacting her office. So I didn't really hear all of the interview, but I need to ask you a question because there were specific questions I asked her office, and a gentleman by the name of Tom, I can't remember his last name, contacted me back. And we were having a discussion about, because my question has been, I'm concerned about the mail-in ballots, and I know everybody was pushing that, but now when you consider Trump putting the new postal master in there and all the trick that's going to come, my biggest thing has been, okay, I understand about Colford and all of that, but why not make sure, because I'm a proponent for having more more spaces available.
She addressed that, Greg, when I asked her about that. So a couple of things real quick. They're going to try to do as many maximum polling locations or polling sites throughout the city as well. It's going to be much more than the 180 plus from June 2nd and 2. She said they're going to create or they're going to open up satellite locations right around mid-September. Multiple satellite locations, and people can go get mail-in ballots and fill them out in private spaces right there on the spot and submit them. So we're going to get more information. We're going to press her to get that information a lot more earlier than September, but that is coming. That is coming.
Well, I would like to think, I'm glad. I don't want to take total credit for it, but that was one of the issues that I actually addressed to this gentleman, and he was talking about I had asked him a question. He was talking about the Secretary of State. I heard you say that it's responsible for it. So I had asked them, did they present these alternatives to the Secretary for them to approve? Because he was telling me the Secretary of State was the one who approved, the election. So I asked him, well, if you send information or you send procedures in place, like more monitors, more safe, more cleaning the machines and hiring more people, because I was concerned that my polling place was actually eliminated, and we have a lot of seniors that wasn't going to be able to get there. So I'm glad that actually
there's going to be a little bit of consolidation taking place, but it's not going to be as that consolidation is going to be, just out of an abundance of caution. But they are going to have a lot more, and we're going to continue to press her on that, Greg, and she's going to come back on. But they are looking at maximum. I don't know, she didn't give me a specific number yet, but we're going to try to get it sounds like they're trying to get as close to the original 800 as they possibly can. They're going to have way more polling locations on Election Day or starting early, right ahead of Election Day than they did back on June 2nd, just based on that. But we're going to talk to her again. Real quick, Greg, 10 seconds.
One last question. So I'm seeing the polling, and it's running on TV, that Donald Trump and Joe Biden are running neck and neck. And this is not a Republican. It isn't a party thing. So can you at least, have you heard that? I'm hearing the 14% here that you're talking about. But then I'm also hearing...
That's combined. We're going to talk about that a little bit more too, Greg. Combined on average, when you combine and average out all the polls, Joe Biden ahead by about 8 points on average nationally. But you're going to see specific or like individual polls where it's going to fluctuate, and so it's still tight. It's still very tight. So right now, what I just talked about earlier with Biden and Harris combined, it gives you a nice 14-point cushion to work with. But they still got a lot of work to do. Greg, let me let you go because I'm on break, and we got to bring on our next guest. Let me take a break, and we'll be right back here on Reality Check.
Show some love for your favorite neighborhood with Word Radio. It's the Summer of Freedom Virtual Neighborhood Love Tour. Mondays and Thursdays now through August 20th from 1 p.m. till 2:30 p.m. Shining a light on Philadelphia's neighborhoods with a focus on neighborhood history, Philadelphia's freedom fighters, and community resources that are helping to shape the city's future. Mondays with the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith, and Thursdays with Andrea Lawful Sanders. It's the Summer of Freedom Virtual Neighborhood Love Tour. Mondays and Thursdays, 1 p.m. till 2:30 p.m. exclusively on Word Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on wordradio.com, the Word Radio app, and on Word TV via YouTube and Facebook. The Summer of Freedom Virtual Neighborhood Love Tour is sponsored by Wells Fargo and Pico.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time Shiro to all of us. You nurture, we listen. You teach, we thrive. You lift our spirits, but we've got to lay down the truth. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. Start saving more for retirement now, so you can feel prepared and live your life to the fullest. Get free tips to help boost your retirement savings now at aceyourretirement.org/Shiro.
A message brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Support independent black media and join the Forward movement now at 215-425-7875 or visit wordradio.com. Join us for our annual Founders Day broadcast, a special on-air celebration of our founder, Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD. Thursday, August 20th from 6 a.m. till 9 p.m. For more information on our annual Founders Day celebration, stay tuned to Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, wordradio.com, and follow us on social media, on Twitter and Instagram at onWURD, and on Facebook at Forward. With Charles Ellison right now on Word Radio and wordradio.com.
All right, welcome back to Reality Check. If you're listening in Philly proper, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, if you happen to be driving around today. But listening beyond Greater Philly and Delaware Valley, it's our live stream at wordradio.com for those of you across the nation and around the world. Many of you also listening in that way and watching us on Word TV. Word TV is at facebook.com/forward and youtube.com/onWord. Word app too. Don't forget that. Download it on your smartphone or tablet device. Take it on the go. Take it wherever you go. Obviously, a lot of folks out there also doing staycations. Please continue to do that as we're trying to ride this pandemic out. So very, very limited spots that you can go to with the Word app. I understand that, but definitely download it. Makes it much easier to listen to Word 24 hours, 7 days a week, and programs like Reality Check here. Joining us now with the Center for American Progress, we're doing an impromptu Cap Corner with Danielle Solomon. Danielle Solomon joining us. She's coming back. She's the VP for Race and Ethnicity Policy at the Center for American Progress. Go to americanprogress.org for more information. She's joining us here today on Reality Check. Danielle, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
All right, good. Good talking to you again. I appreciate you coming back. So this is obviously it's a very historic pick. I know you got all kinds of thoughts surrounding it, and so wanted to get your first take on it. And there's the history on obvious levels, her being this black woman running mate. That's historic in and of itself. But are there other aspects of this, other historic aspects of this that we're missing?
Well, first I wanted to say that I am ecstatic and happy. I am smiling from ear to ear. This was a great choice. I think Vice President Biden did the right thing. This is a choice that the American public needed. This is a choice that black women needed. This is a great moment. It is historic. She will be the first black woman vice president. She's also the first Indian woman. So it is historic. She's also the daughter of immigrants. She really encapsulates what America should stand for and does stand for, right? And so all Americans should be thrilled about this pick. She's highly qualified, and she's ready to work for the people. And I think people should be excited, be energized, and get ready to go out and vote and ensure that Vice President Biden and Senator Harris, get to the White House.
Mm. There's another dimension to this as well. It talks about, or it presents some of the political punch or the political might of black women, right? Because black women were openly, a lot of black women were openly making this demand after this primary, after Joe Biden became the presumptive nominee, or when it was getting close, where it seemed as if, okay, he's the one, he's going to be the nominee. Okay, so Joe, this is what you need to do. Talk about that. Talk about how black women flexed political muscle in this moment, and that's also very significant. That's significant even beyond the Biden-Harris ticket, or how significant it is that Kamala Harris was picked.
Right. I mean, I think what you saw here is, I mean, black women have been the backbone of the Democratic Party forever, and we continue to be the backbone of the Democratic Party. And I think in this moment, we, flexed those muscles and said, it's not enough for you all to continue to take advantage of us and count on us to show up every time, which we do. Now it's time to deliver. It's not enough to talk about us. It's not enough to thank us. It's time for you to put those words in action, and that requires, real change. And I think he made, this is a down payment. He has put her on the ticket. Great. He's also stated that he will nominate a black woman on the Supreme Court. That's next.
You just say that.
It's definitely time for, our Democratic Party to do right by black women, because black women have done right by them. And I think we're starting to see that. And I just want to really go back to, Senator Harris, who, again, highly qualified and has been doing this work since she started, right? Like, you can look at her record, and she has always been fighting for the people. And I know there is some, concern about her maybe not being as progressive as folks want, but she has always been, pragmatic and progressive. And she has always been on the right side of the fight. And I think it's important for all of us to get behind her, stand with her, and ensure that Vice President Biden and Senator Harris get to the White House.
What are some features of that record, Danielle, that are the most appealing, or that the Biden-Harris ticket should be showcasing or highlighting the most? Because I think that this, we normally say every election cycle, a lot, especially a lot of your so-called seasoned or conventional political observers, that at the end of the day, ultimately VP picks or running mate picks really don't count. Well, if they never counted before, this particular selection really, really counts. This is a really consequential pick. This is more important, or the pick, or Senator Harris is more important to Joe Biden than Joe Biden is to Senator Harris. I mean, in a lot of ways. I mean, it's kind of like in so many, you can make the argument that they're kind of equal, and even though she's going to have to follow his lead, they're really equal in so many ways. And so talk about that, like what aspects of that record should they be showcasing or highlighting?
I think they should showcase it all, right? Like, I mean, she ran the second largest Department of Justice as Attorney General for California. In her time in California, she worked to protect Obamacare. She worked to, fight and protect environmental protections and climate change. She fought against for-profit companies that were, targeting young students. She fought big banks and recovered $20 billion, I think it is, for families. So she has been doing this work across policy areas to ensure that the people, everyday people, are protected. And I think that the Biden campaign should highlight her entire record. As a United States Senator, she serves on the Judiciary Committee, where we saw her in glorious display fight for justice and accountability. She also serves on the Intelligence Committee and Homeland Security. She's ready to work on day one. She's, beyond up to speed and will be an equal partner to Vice President Biden on all the work that they will have to do in light of the current administration. We have our work set out for us to rebuild government, to rebuild trust not only at home and abroad, and she is more than qualified and will be an amazing partner to him as they do this hard work that we have ahead of us.
How does she explain, or better explain, Danielle, that that past record? And I don't think that that's a record that that she should be ashamed of or distance herself from, as a prosecutor in the Bay Area and also as AG of California. I felt that she was a bit, during the primary, she could be a bit wobbly in responding to attacks on that record and just explaining, okay, well, this is what I did as a prosecutor in the Bay Area. This is what I did as California AG. You know what? Hey, black people can be prosecutors and law enforcement officials too, and excel in those spaces. So I just felt that she really didn't handle it as well as she could have. I'm sure she learned some lessons from that, whether it was on the debate stage or on the campaign trail. But how does she more effectively unpack that record and explain to people this is what happened on my watch as a prosecutor in the Bay Area and also as California AG with respect to her criminal justice record?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. I think she definitely got more comfortable as the campaign went on talking about her record and explaining, I think, a lot of the issues that came up and the concerns that were raised about her record, when she was in the district attorney's office as well as when she was AG. I think for folks, folks need to listen to her and understand that these jobs are not easy jobs and everything is not black and white, and recognize the position that she did hold and the things that she was able to accomplish in those positions, and realize that I think it's also important to realize that this work is not easy and it takes time. And she was in that fight every day trying to make positive change, working inside the system to make sure it is more equitable. But that is not something that can just happen overnight. That takes time and a lot of effort. And she put in that effort, and she has continued to put in that effort in every role that she has held. And I think that's what's most important for people to focus on, is that she was on the right side of a lot of these fights. And while everything may not be perfect and everything she did may not be perfect, overall she has been fighting for, to use her words, the people, and has, kept her eye or her North Star towards that. And that's what folks should really, focus on.
Yeah. I think another right at the moment kind of overlooked aspect or feature of this election is the role of digital in a presidential campaign like this. There's going to be heavy reliance, almost exclusive reliance on digital to assist or augment these presidential campaigns, because we're going to have to maintain social distancing. We've got this pandemic happening. And that's also what makes this pick very important, because Kamala Harris has a lot of name recognition. She also regularly goes viral on social media. Talk about that. Talk about we got you for about a minute or so more. Talk about the very prominent role that digital media, that social media will play in a campaign like this. How much of an advantage now with this pick, how much of an advantage Joe Biden's team picked up in selecting Kamala Harris?
Well, I mean, again, I think it shows that this was, a wise choice. I mean, you're absolutely right. In the wake of the pandemic, folks are not going to be out at rallies as much and engaging, face-to-face. It will much more be, digitally focused, Facebook Lives and things like that. And her presence on social media platforms will help. She is younger and much more, connected to digital outlets, which will be critical. And, turning out the vote, getting out good information, right, combating all of the disinformation that we are seeing right now and will likely pick up. And so having her robust digital team ready to go and highly organized will be essential. And not only exciting, folks to turn out, but also making sure folks have the right information, the right data, where to go, when to go, all of that information, which is key to winning in November.
Right. We've been talking with Danielle Solomon. She is Vice President of Race and Ethnicity Policy at the Center for American Progress. Go to AmericanProgress.org for more information. She's also at Dany, D-A-N-Y, in D.C. for social media engagement. She's on Twitter, and she occasionally will get a chance to speak with her here on Reality Check from time to time. It's always good to talk with her. Thank you so much, Danielle.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Be safe. Okay, let's take a break. Phone lines are open at 215-634-8065, toll free 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check, 215-634-8065, toll free 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check. Phone lines are wide open. Let's take a break and we'll be right back.
The Murray Report, bringing you the latest in sports news and opinions. Hosted by Chris Murray. Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. right here on Word Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on wordradio.com and on the Word Radio app.
Need a new mattress? Stop by to see Julian, the mattress man, located at 7421 Stenton Avenue. You deal directly with the owner, Julian, to ensure the best prices on name brand mattresses like Sealy, Posturepedic. Call 215-424-5550. That's 215-424-5550.
Want the latest in Word swag? Check out the shop tab on wordradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on wordradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black. Talk Media. Word Radio Digital Tip of the Week with Stephanie Humphrey.
I'm your Tech Life expert, Stephanie Humphrey, and this is your Word Digital Tip of the Week. Browsing the internet at a coffee shop might be one of your favorite pastimes, but there are some risks to using public Wi-Fi. Whether you're at a coffee shop, a library, or a community center, the free Wi-Fi they offer could open you up to hackers if you're not careful. It's not recommended that you do any of your online shopping or banking when connected to public Wi-Fi. Hackers have tools that can sniff out your usernames and passwords. Reading ebooks or online newspapers is fine, and browsing shopping sites is okay too, but when you're ready to purchase, wait until you get home. Also, make sure you're using the official Wi-Fi of the actual business or organization, and you're not connected to another network that looks similar but might be compromised. And if you're not sure, ask an employee. Surfing the web in public is something we all do. Just make sure you're staying safe. Stay tuned to WURD for more tech tips and stay connected with us at wordradio.com.
The Word Digital Tip of the Week is brought to you by Comcast NBC Universal. Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is Word Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black Talk Media. Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on Word Radio and wordradio.com.
All right, welcome back to Reality Check. Phone lines are open, 215-634-8065. Toll free, it is 866-361-0900, 215-634-8065. Toll free, it is 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check. It was Eric, thank you, Eric DeLoach, who a listener on Facebook Live, on our Facebook live stream, saying, stop Trump and the cronies from slowing down the mail and destroying the post office. He puts out a number to be connected to your senator. The main switchboard, I just want to make sure we have, just numbers, like accurate numbers that are out there. If you are trying to call your senator or you want to call senators, because it's more important. The House understands, the people who are in charge of the House of Representatives right now, they understand the urgency of the moment. And so they're doing what they have to do for the most part. Congressional Democrats, it's the Senate under Republican control, won't seem to budge on a number of key issues, including the state of the Postal Service right now. But the switchboard for the U.S. Capitol for the U.S. Senate is the area code 202-224-3121. That's 202-224-3121 if you're trying to reach your senators. If you're in Pennsylvania, that doesn't just include Senator Casey, but that's also Senator Toomey. It's actually, Senator Toomey is on pretty much, for the most part, we can say is on the same wavelength on many of these issues as like myself and others. Senator Toomey is not. So it's the person whose phone lines you need to overwhelm right now about the Postal Service and about issues like mail ballots. It's Senator Pat Toomey's office to get more information or to be connected to him. 202-224-3121. I never understand why like folks aren't like lining up at his Well, I mean, you can't these days because things are kind of shut down, but, as far as certain offices, but go to toomey.senate.gov. So if you're in Pennsylvania, like, yo, Pat Toomey, what's up? Like, what's going on? Postal Service, this is a big issue. And the Postal Service is not just a big issue in terms of, because, they're saying that they're having problems in terms of personnel. Postal employees are complaining that sorting machines are missing. There's an all-out effort to just completely slow down the postal service, and so that's not just a problem in terms of mail-in ballots. Now they're just messing with all our mail. So, like, people got checks coming through the mail. Like, if you don't do direct deposit, you waiting on a check. So it's like, what, now folks got to pay for FedEx and UPS to get that done? Like, that's not right. And so it's like checks that people are waiting on, real crucial prescription drugs or prescriptions that folks with chronic diseases, elderly folks are waiting on, postcards, letters from loved ones, important correspondence. Republicans are just messing everything up. And so this is not just about mail-in ballots. This is about like a long-standing form of communication and an important form of communication and correspondence. You can't do everything by email, and not everyone is doing in terms of transactions or the receipt of money, of key checks people are waiting on. Not everyone is doing that electronically. Sometimes you have to rely on you expect your standard postal system to deliver those things for you, or orders. More people are ordering things online, through sites like Amazon.com, through retailers and vendors like Amazon.com, so they're waiting on things in the mail. So here, Republicans are just messing everything up. It's just time. Y'all need to go. It's time for y'all to get out. Time to vote y'all out. It's time. If it's one thing you want to eliminate and you want to get rid of and you want to overhaul, it's definitely the Republican Party. Really, it's time to go. 215-634-8065. I just don't see the reason anymore for a Republican Party like the way that it is right now. I just don't. It's like, really, like the Postal Service? Come on. Just so you can win an election? 215-634-8065, toll free. It's 866-361-0900. So thank you for that, Eric DeLoach. Let me see. Lean Love was coming back and is saying, after the Hillary travesty, I don't pay attention to the polls. They had Hillary beating 45. They did those polls, so we do have to be cautious about those polls. It's, once again, the top line analysis is that when you look at some of those previous hypothetical matchups between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris in terms of the national averaging, and I highlight averaging, she was beating him. Right, and then you combine that with Joe Biden being just statistically or on average ahead of Donald Trump. Then you get a combined sort of polling advantage. But it's you can't trust polling, and polling is one of those measures that folks in our space use. It's a way to kind of inform us where the wind is blowing. To kind of read the tea leaves, to also get a sense of, the better polls and the more reliable polls. And even there, you've got to look at those with caution, are the state-by-state polls, looking in each battleground state and seeing how the individual candidates are performing in individual states. But when you're looking at that national averaging, it helps make that decision a little bit easier. It just shows that there's some strength there. But at the end of the day, to Lean Love's point, don't trust that. What folks have to trust is their turnout, their family's turnout, their friends, their neighbors' turnout, coworkers, is everyone turn. That's what you trust. You trust the level of turnout that's happening. Once, like in the case of Philadelphia, for example, those satellite locations open and you're ready to go there, you're not feeling what's going on with the Postal Service now. Okay, well, it sounds like the Philly Commissioner's Office is working on a way to address that, with these satellite locations and opening up those locations early and allowing people or permitting people to start getting in those ballots. Sometime, I think she was saying after mid-September. So that will give people a nice a nice set of weeks to and not to have everyone rushing to the polls at the same time on November 3rd and complaining that there's long lines or that they're worried about COVID-19 or getting infected while they're trying to exercise their right to vote. Let me go to Bill out of Chestnut Hill, who's calling in for a reality check. Bill?
Yes, good afternoon. I'm calling in regards to the previous guest, Danielle Solomon, and
right.
also in some remarks that you had made earlier prior to her coming on. She is completely untrue in her statement, and whereas Kamala Harris is concerned, Senator Kamala Harris is concerned, because Kamala Harris' track record stands clear, especially for those. I mean, you didn't even have to be in California to know these things, but she, first of all, she goes on the record, has been on the record, as stating she will not address anything related to specifically to so-called black people's issues, and that's on the record.
How is that on the record? When did she say that on the record?
No, she has been quoted.
When did she say it though, Bill? You got to tell me, when did she say it?
Look, I can go on. If you had a way to receive email or links, I'll send you the link from her actually stating this in CNN interviews, Fox interviews, when she was on TV.
But if you're gonna, fine, you can send me the email, but you gotta if you're gonna come on and make a big claim like that, you gotta have the receipts, bro.
Okay, really. I'll give you some specifics. I'll give you some.
So let me ask you this, Bill. If she's not, so what's your plan? What's your plan for the election? So you're saying you're not. So wait a second. Wait, because I'm gonna let you speak, but I need to get some clarity here, Bill. So what do you say? You're not interested in voting for Biden-Harris coming up because what you think that she's openly, which I've never seen, she's openly stated that she's not supporting any black policy issues. So you're saying you're not voting for that ticket?
Why would anyone in their right mind vote for any?
You're active.
Wait, you said I can answer.
Yes or no? Yes or no? Are you voting for that ticket? Are you voting for that ticket?
No, you said you'd give me a chance to answer.
Well, go ahead, answer. Yes or no?
All right. No, it's not about you telling me yes or no. You said you'd give me a chance to answer, so be honest. Let's be gentlemen about this.
I am being gentleman. Just answer the question.
Then
so it's no, you're not.
Question, and you keep interviewing and interrupting. That's not an interview of a guest.
Okay, go ahead. Tell me why.
Okay, why would anyone? And this is my statement. Why would anyone vote for anyone who has not specifically stated on the record that they are going to specifically address their constituents? And in this instance, she is claiming to be black, but she's a melanated Rachel Dolezal. She's not black, and she's gone on record.
That's not no, Bill. I'm not gonna. Hey, wait a second, Bill. Let me tell you, Bill. Stop for a second. Stop. That has absolutely. So you're going from policy to you're trying to have a substantive, intellectual discussion about policy to Rachel Dolezal. Are you crazy? She's of Jamaica. She's of black diaspora descent. Jamaicans were dealing with slavery too, just like we were dealing with slavery up here. She's a black woman, full stop. That's it. There shouldn't be any. That's getting into silliness. That has nothing to do with the price, literally with the price of bread, or the rate of inflation, or the fact that we're currently in an economic depression. And so you're going to need as qualified a ticket as you can to go in and clean up the mess, the dumpster fire that is the country right now. So I take it you are a proud card-carrying member of the Republican Party then. I assume that is the case, correct?
No.
You must be. You must be. No, let's not play around here. Let's be gentlemen. Let's be gentlemen, Bill. You are a Republican voter. Full stop.
No, that is not true.
You must be supporting white. Well, let me ask you this question, Bill. You must be supporting white nationalism in the White House. You must be supporting open air corruption and unadulterated evil white nationalism running the American government right now. You support that. That's your thing, correct? Yes or no?
No.
Well, what's your plan, Bill? Who else? Who else is going to come in? Who else are you voting for? No, seriously, Bill. I ain't playing. I'm not messing around here. This is a save the world moment. This is no joke. This is to be quibbling around. No, no. I'm going to shut it down because this is no time to be quibbling around about. Oh, she's Jamaican and Indian. She not black enough. That is nonsense, Bill. You must be for white nationalism. No, I'm straight up. You must be for white nationalism running the country right now. You're for that. Because what is your plan? Who is your alternative candidate? What other candidate or ticket is going to win this and get this and blow up this Death Star that's hanging over the planet right now? Who else? Who you got someone in mind? You gonna run? You running for president, Bill?
Well, if you can put pressure on both of those people to address specifically, not run around the bush like Danielle Solomon was stating.
She wasn't beating around the bush. She laid out the issues that she's a U.S. senator. She's a U.S. senator, Bill. Bill, I'm not. It's none of these candidates or these elected officials are ever perfect. I worked on the Hill. I know how that all works. None of us are perfect. You ain't perfect. I ain't perfect. We all flawed, and we're all going to have like policy positions that not everyone's going to agree with. But say, hey, we're going to put pressure, which is part of what he did. He responded to pressure from black women who asked for a black woman running mate. So step one, we got that done. So now step two, make sure that that ticket is being responsive to those policy concerns. Say that. Don't say no one should be voting for this. Bro, are you not living through the pandemic right now? Genocidal level numbers of black people dying? Are you not? You must be. Well, you're from Chestnut Hill, so you must be good. So I mean, are you not like seeing what's happening? What's the fire burning around us? It's like a wildfire out there, and you're talking about like, well, no one should in their right mind should be voting for this ticket. Are you like really promoting that?
If you let someone speak and
go ahead and speak. Well, I mean, I let people speak who making sense.
I asked for just
make some sense. Make some sense. Make some sense.
And please do not interrupt because you're no better than Fox and CNN if you keep doing that.
Well, you need to make sense. Well, you know better than these MAGA. You know better than Kanye West and these MAGA folks and these white nationalists out here trying to have like white supremacy take over the world. Like you know better than them.
You're accepting colors, but all you've done is talk. You have not let me speak in one word.
Because you're not making sense, Bill. You're not making sense.
It has something. How can you make any sense if you keep interrupting?
Well, tell me. Go ahead. Speak
your piece. American?
Speak your piece, bruh. Hey, bruh, speak your piece.
Okay, first of all, bruh, I'm a caller, so show respect. I show respect for you. Please show respect back. I'm not your bruh. We don't have to get
respect. I'm showing plenty of respect.
Well,
speak
then
your piece.
I'm not. My name is Bill, not bruh. Okay, thank you. First
Go
of
ahead.
all, as far as policy, those two, I'm talking about Biden. Please don't interrupt with the platitudes. Biden and Harris, as far as tickets go, they have not specifically addressed, and I'm saying specifically, not for the people, not for this group, not for that group. I'm talking the same thing that has been quoted by many different people, like Dr. Claude Anderson and others.
I know Dr. Claude Anderson, but Dr. Claude Anderson, he got enough sense. He got enough sense to know the urgent moment that we live in. Don't put it on Claude Anderson like he doesn't understand the urgent situation that we're in. Don't put it on him. Don't use him to support. Listen, Bill, I gotta let you go because I'm gonna let you go, Bill, because I let you get enough time. Listen, I'm telling people here now. First of all, I warned people yesterday. I have zero tolerance for any of this no vote conversation or any of this conversation talking about, I'm going to hold or abstain my vote for, for this ticket because, they need to address of course, that was the first step in him making the pick in the first place. I mean, unless you have some wonderful, magical candidate who is better at this exact moment and can unelect oust the current monster from the White House other than Biden Harris. Tell me. If I'm not aware of it, you got to tell me. That's what I mean. Other than that, all this other conversation is like irrelevant. It really is. I mean, I don't know how else to, and I'm not going to entertain it. We are in a moment where people are, this is a president who created this pandemic environment that we're in right now, that is disproportionately killing black folks in genocidal levels. All right, and not to mention like all the other issues beyond black issues, beyond racial issues. I mean, the pure evil threat that the current composition of the government is to issues such as climate change. All right, just all the regulatory rollbacks that are happening right now before our very eyes in terms of the environment, in terms of the air we breathe, the water we drink and bathe in. I mean, we're talking about like basic quality of life issues. I mean, things eroding all around us. Basic democratic constitutional principles being eroded and nibbled at rapidly every day. All that's happening. So I'm not saying this as a partisan bill. Okay, I'm just saying like we in that kind of moment, and it's just time for it's no nonsense time. It's not. So either you're going to come on here and you're going to say, oh, hey, listen, this is what we need to. This is the conversation that makes sense. All right, either it's got to be either, hey, listen, as Bill from Chestnut Hill, I have a candidate who nobody knows about, who could come in and be much more effective and much more able to defeat Donald Trump than Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. I don't know that candidate. I mean, but if you do, then tell me. So that's one. So that's option one. That's door one. Or door two, hey, listen, I'm not really all that happy with the Biden-Harris pick, but I understand that's what we got to do to get us through this moment. But in the meantime, these are the policy areas. That's the smart strategic way to do it. These are the policy areas. These are the issues that we that we need to put pressure on them about. Okay, so that conversation makes sense. Okay, other than that, everything else is irrelevant. You coming on here talking about no one in their right mind would vote for it. No, I mean, there's a lot of sane people. You the one who's out on the sidelines, like insane. I mean, presenting that kind of insanity, because that's not a choice. I mean, well, it really is a choice. It's once again, it's a Republican choice. You've decided that, okay, I mean, because let me put it to people real plain and simple. Not voting or not voting for the Biden-Harris ticket in this moment in time, you voting for Donald Trump. You voting for Republicans. It's as plain and simple as that. I mean, I can't make that any clear. Arguing for that, that means that I'm calling people out. Like I'm making that list and going to be checking it twice. Like you having these other conversations about her heritage and who she married to and all that stuff is irrelevant. And basically you have actively signed on to you're supporting a white nationalist agenda. Full stop. You are. So until you get on board with the moment and you're here to save the world like the rest of us are, because that's what we're doing. Black women tried to save the world in 2016, and y'all wasn't listening. There was a bunch of y'all out there wasn't listening. Didn't show up. There's little silly things like either not show up or wrote in folks' names, voting for Jill Stein, writing in Bernie Sanders' name. See, Black Women Sisters was trying to save the world. I know, because I wrote that headline myself in theroot.com 4 years ago. I was like, the night after the election, I was like, Black women, damn, sisters tried. Sisters was warning you. Sisters showed up, was trying to save the world. Sisters doing it again. And y'all out here, y'all still playing around? Like, really? All right, let's take a break. When we come back, no, I'm just not entertaining it. I'm not. And so you will get shut down. You will get cut off. People are warned. I mean, I'm serious about this. I'm serious. This is not a game. This is not a gimmick. It's like, it's time to saddle up, y'all. It's time to saddle up and get this done. And then after we win this election, then we can get on to the next phase is let's address these various grievances and issues that we have. So we got this moment for you. We helped you win. So now that's how you play politics. But if you a loser, you losing elections, you just a loser. You ain't going to do nothing. You ain't going to shape no policy. The game is over for you. All right, let's take a break. When we come back on the other side, we'll bring on Andrew Buss. He's the Deputy CIO for Innovation Management for the City of Philadelphia. They're going to talk about this new ambitious digital access plan, including Phil Ed Connect, that they're rolling out in the city. So let's get some more information about that here on Reality Check 96.1 FM, 900 AM, wordradio.com, Word TV, Word app. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The Word Radio newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting wordradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on Word Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the Word Radio newsletter. Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM, WURD.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the Lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on Word Radio and wordradio.com.
All right, welcome back to Reality Check 96.1 FM, 900 AM, wordradio.com, Word TV, Word app as well. We're waiting on our next guest. Okay, our next guest is here, Andrew Buss. He is Deputy Chief Information Officer for Innovation Management for the City of Philadelphia. They're rolling out a new, ambitious, they're talking about affordable, simple, reliable digital access plan for residents in the City of Philadelphia, particularly residents affected by COVID-19. Remember, we're in a pandemic, so residents affected by COVID-19 and also low-income, already vulnerable residents. There was a lot of struggling happening in Philadelphia before pandemic, and so this new digital access plan is supposed to address all that. We have Andrew on to talk more about that here on Reality Check. Andrew, what's good?
How you doing there?
Hey, what's happening, Andrew?
Well, I'll give you a little bit of information. So, as you noted, we're really working hard to try to make it possible to do remote learning in the fall.
Right.
We have a program called PHL Connect Ed.
Okay.
And do you have questions, or you want me to go on?
Yeah. No, please tell us about that. How will that work? How will that operate?
Sure. So the goal is really to provide internet access and digital literacy to students who are trying to do remote learning. So there is a wired component to that, which will be through Comcast. And there is also, so in other words, wire to the home, internet to the home. And then there will also be a mobile hotspot component to this program, which will try to address a lot of the more transient students out there. So it's a little Wi-Fi hotspot device that offers internet access. So we're really trying to think of this in three parts. You know, it's about the access itself. It's about the device, having a device to go online, and it's really the school district handling that deployment. And then finally thinking about the digital literacy side of this. So if you have the device and the access, how do you actually use them?
Right. Let me ask you, Andrew. So, okay, with Phil Connect Ed, is that service? Because I know that there are a lot of questions surrounding that. It's great finally Philly arriving at that step, to try to provide that layer of digital access for students, for families, particularly like low-income students and families in the school system. How is that being paid for, and who pays for that? Is that free? Is that service completely free Is it free in perpetuity, or is it free just for a limited amount of time to eligible students?
Sure. Right now it is. It will be free for 2 years. It's a 2-year program at the moment anyway. It was a lot of different funders, private funders involved, the city involved with funding it, as well as the school district. But it is, it is free to the families that are eligible.
Okay. So, great. So people, as far as when you say wired, do you mean this is like wired, like hard lines that are going to the houses, or just it's the Comcast Internet Essentials program. So it's
having access in your home.
What's the total? Do you have the total dollar value of this whole big program, the Phil Connect Ed? Now, and I'm asking because I know a lot of other people are asking. I've written about it in the Citizen, but I've written it as a result.
Sure, and of course, not surprisingly, that's a big challenge right now because a lot of those places are closed due to the pandemic, as with libraries as well, right? So I think the city has for a while had this key spot network of public computing centers. Those have been very well used. And I think at some point, we have to assume we'll come out of this and we will have public places where people can go for access again, because that's been a really important part of all this. I think one thing, we're looking at in the city as well, and I'm not directly involved in these meetings, but it's having some safe spaces available for kids during the day where they can also access the internet. Probably not specifically the key spot locations, but other places like parks and rec facilities.
Got it. So and we just have to we obviously going to have to manage that. How do we address those? So people are going to have public health concerns, or people are going to raise that as a concern or an issue. Hey, we're doing this in the pandemic. How are we going to manage or keep these public spaces, these open public spaces, hygienic? Not to mention the equipment, right? The computer equipment, stuff like keyboards. If you're having, shared laptops or shared desktops, I'm assuming there's a whole plan in place to keep things clean, to keep things hygienic while we're going through this COVID-19 situation.
Yeah, sure, there is a plan. I think a lot of it, of course, is the social distancing thing we keep hearing about. It's also, the kids each student is getting a device through the school. Mm-hmm. So that is their device, and then we'll also have a whole bunch of the hotspot devices available, which is the internet access part of this. So the hygiene on the device side is a little bit easier than if you were using shared machines, because that's obviously part of the challenge of public centers right now is you have a common machine. You have to clean it each time someone uses it.
Got it. Hey, Andrew, tell us about the Digital Equity Coordinating Committee. That's something that the mayor's office created or established, and how is that operating, and how does it coordinate a plan, an ambitious plan like this?
Yeah, sure. So it's actually not yet formed.
Okay.
So I'll just give you a quick overview of how we're seeing this going forward. So for the last few years, there has been an organization largely composed of external stakeholders called the Digital Literacy Alliance. Mm-hmm. And the idea is for that to continue to be, it'll grow, it'll become a little more diverse with institutions, and that will be kind of our external sounding board for some of our ideas. It's traditionally been a grant-making organization that we've been operating. And then sort of parallel to that, as you noted, will be this coordinating committee that is largely city folks, city departments. The DLA will inform the coordinating committee. And our long-term goal, of course, because as you noted, the K through 12 piece is just phase one. It's really to have a more cohesive city plan around digital equity going forward. So not just K-12, but, we should think about seniors and internet access as well. We should think about the disabled community and internet access as well. So sort of getting a little more comprehensive going forward there.
We have a listener who's watching us via Word TV, Andrew, and on our Word TV live stream on Facebook Live, Ruben Mills, and this is a good question. It seems like a simple question, but it's not trivial at all. What does eligible mean? Who qualifies? So who specifically? Do we have the criteria for who specifically? What type of resident qualifies for this type of free access for things like Phil Connect Ed?
Yeah, sure. It's a great question. So it's still being worked out, honestly, but basically what we have done is gotten a bunch of data from the two providers, Comcast and Verizon. We have compared that to the data from the school district, and we're talking about data that would show which households have internet access, are served with internet access, and which ones are not. And then it becomes a matter of putting those two data sets together and trying to come up with a group of folks who, the first line is kind of who does not have access at all. Mm-hmm. And then maybe the next line of eligible people would be people who have signed up for Comcast's 2 months free of Internet Essentials, but know they're not going to pay for it beyond the 2 months. So there's kind of these different waves of eligibility, and we're obviously trying to get as many folks as we can into those waves given the money that we have.
Right. So when would we know? Like how? Yeah, I guess that's another question too. Like, what's the time frame for all of this in terms of the rollout?
Yeah, well, it's got to be pretty fast, right?
Yeah, right.
The goal is to have this in place right around the start of school. I think at least by mid-September at the latest. So, there's a lot to put in place. I'm optimistic we can do it. I think it's just, this is one of those things that you just have to do and you have to make work, and that's what we're trying to do and make sure that kids can learn remotely in the fall.
Yeah. No, it's real important. We're talking with Andrew. Please try to roll it out as fast as we can, and definitely going to need the community knowing exactly what this is all about and trying to collaborate with you. That's coming up with the next question, Andrew. Before I just remind people, we're talking with Andrew Buss. He is the, did I pronounce the last name correctly, Andrew?
You did, yes.
Okay, excellent. Andrew Buss, he is the Deputy Chief Information Officer, the CIO for Innovation Management for the City of Philadelphia. They are launching an ambitious digital access program, including Phil Connect Ed. I know some people have already heard about that. I had concerns in the past about, the city not readily stepping up to the moment in terms of digital access, but it looks like we're resolving that, and I'm really happy. I'm pleased to hear that too, Andrew, as far as creating a universal kind of broadband situation, at least for the next 2 years. And so let's see what we can do to kind of keep that going in perpetuity. But it's a good first step. And so we're here talking about that whole digital access program, what that all means, and the formation of the Digital Equity Coordinating Committee. Andrew, what's the level of coordination like? Because I think this is really important. I think digital access, particularly on this scale, like what we're talking about and what you all are planning on doing, is just like sidewalks, streets, and bridges. Like it's that important of a core infrastructure, right? So, but what's the level of coordination and collaboration like with community organizations, civic groups, churches? Trying to get like that community input and community buy-in to really make this thing work.
Yep, sure. So I'll say right now, I think there's a lot of communication between the city and the school district and all the charters. So that's kind of the first line of work here. And then what we have traditionally done is use the Digital Literacy Alliance as sort of our connection to the community, because we have a lot of nonprofit groups on there who have a lot of community constituents in them, of course. So I think there's, going forward as we establish this digital equity plan I was talking about, there will be opportunities for more community people to become involved in shaping that plan. And I think it'll end up being similar to what we did in the technology office back last fall when we did kind of a broader technology strategic plan. And there's a lot of community input in that as well.
So there will be like when that, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Andrew. I didn't mean to cut you.
No, I was going to say, to your point, though, I think you described really well that this is an infrastructure, right? Just like streets and anything else, right? So I often describe this work as you have to have the people infrastructure in place, you have to have the physical infrastructure, and then you also need, which is what the DLA has tried to do, some sort of innovation infrastructure to really push the needle and come up with some new best practices.
Yeah. So, like, for example, like this Digital Equity Coordinating Committee, is that just city agencies? Would that also include like residents or people who are members of like key community groups who are from the community who can help kind of provide input to this new plan?
Right. That particular group will largely just be city entities, so it's kind of the cross-departmental version of the governance structure.
Okay.
And then, as I said, the DLA will probably do some focus groups where we will have more community involvement going on.
And so there will be like an advisory. Okay, cool. I will follow up on that, because I think that it's like with the city's violence plan. Like I remember talking to a lot of advocates against violence who work on that violence issue in the city, which is, as you're aware, is real serious and alarming. But they were really concerned how like the mayor's plan was created. It was molded, but like the first time they read it was when it was rolled out, when it was announced. And so I'm hoping that that's a lot more intentional. You understand what I'm saying? Like that level of collaboration. So it's like, oh, hey everyone, free internet, but the churches, the community groups, and everyone else, they're not saying, we didn't know about this. Like, oh, this is new. So I hope we avoid that. But at least we're taking some good first steps here. I'm real curious too, Andrew. Philly has a very serious adult literacy problem. It is a crisis. Like a quarter of adults in the city are functionally illiterate now. Actually, when I was a teenager growing up in North Philly, I volunteered some time to the city's literacy program, helping. I think at the time the gentleman was around, I think he was like 75 years old and couldn't read. And at that time, I didn't realize how grave that situation was in Philly until years later. I saw the data, and I'm like, wow, it's a lot of older people, grown people, adults in Philadelphia who are illiterate. So we're talking about digital literacy, but how do we use this to enhance, to help with adult literacy with like lack of reading skills in the city of Philadelphia?
Yep, you're right on point with that comment. I think one thing we face when we deal with digital literacy is the fact that a lot of people are not literate to begin with. So if you think about, you're combining essentially two forms of illiteracy, and it's hard to teach any digital literacy without a basic level of literacy. So I think there are groups within the city who are focused specifically on the literacy side of this. And so I think there are ways that you work with those groups and you are able to teach literacy while at the same time sort of enhancing people's digital literacy skills. But I think you do need some basic level of adult literacy before you can really get into the digital side of things.
Right. We've been talking with Andrew Buss. Andrew, going to let you go. Thanks for that. Let's please check in with us whenever. And, I think it's a really important effort. Yeah, and it's something we've talked about and I've written about and have had multiple conversations with people about. So I'm happy to see we're taking some steps and following the lead, too, of like other cities were doing it. And so hopefully Philly becomes like a leader and innovates even more in this effort. Because I think it's just overall, it's not just the right thing to do. It's great for the city's economy and long-term economic health. In terms of making it making us a major city and a major Eastern Seaboard center of commerce. We've been talking with Andrew Buss. He is the Deputy Chief Information Officer, CIO for Innovation Management for the City of Philadelphia, talking about and for more information, they just go to where? What's the website to go to learn more about this plan, Andrew?
Great question. It's being set up as we speak, in fact. I think probably if you get back in touch with me in a few days, I will be able to send you to a website.
Great. Yeah, as soon as that launches, let us know. We'll put it out there so people can learn more about it. Thank you, Andrew. All right, take care. Be safe. All right, thank you. Okay, let's take a break. And when we come back on the other side, I believe, open phone lines, 215-634-8065, 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check. You come correct, and I promise I won't bite your head off, but 215-634-8065, toll free 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check. Let's take a break, and we'll be right back.
Do you need health insurance for your children? The Children's Health Insurance Program, also known as CHIP, provides quality, affordable health insurance for Pennsylvania kids. CHIP ensures that kids can go to the doctor, receive health screenings and vaccines, and get what they need to live a healthy childhood. Families can be covered by CHIP no matter how much money they make. If you've experienced a recent change in employment or income, CHIP may be a good option for your family. Visit chipcoverspakids.com to apply or learn more.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation? Follow us on social media using the hashtag onWURD. Be heard. Stay connected to Word Radio. Independent Black Media. Keystone First VIP Choice HMO SNP Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan has a 4 out of 5 star rating and is one of the highest rated Medicare plans in the region. Keystone First VIP Choice and you are better together. If you live in Philadelphia, Bucks, Chester, Montgomery, or Delaware County, and you have both Medicare and Medicaid, choose the Medicare plan that is working to help you get better care. Enjoy extra benefits at no cost to you with Keystone First VIP Choice. You get benefits like dental, vision, and transportation to and from your medical appointments. They also cover a fitness membership to a gym of your choice. $150 toward over-the-counter pharmacy items. There's no copay for doctor's visits. They offer a large provider network, a great prescription plan, dental coverage, and even eyeglasses. Plus, you don't have to wait for open enrollment. You can change your coverage every quarter. Keystone First VIP Choice. The name you trust, the service you deserve. Call Keystone First VIP Choice today at 1-877-686-1760 or visit KeystoneFirstVIPChoice.com. Charles Ellison right now on Word Radio and WordRadio.com.
All right, so phone lines are open, 215-634-8065. Toll free, it is 866-361-0900. 215-634-8065. Toll free, 866-361-0900. So real quick, rules of engagement. These are the rules of engagement on Reality Check as far as the situation with the Biden-Harris 2020 ticket, or as far as this election, as the overall election is concerned. I'm more than happy to entertain conversation about constructive critiques about these candidates, about particularly Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Constructive critique is, hey, you know what? I'm not completely happy with this ticket. Here are the reasons why. These are policy positions that I would like to get clarity on, or I would like to help them augment or strengthen or enhance. I'm ready to have that conversation. I'm totally good with that. But as soon as you come on here, rules of engagement, Reality Check rules of engagement. I've let people know. I'm putting people on notice. I'm really serious about this. As soon as you come on here and you start to say, I'm not voting, or I'm holding my vote, or like the last caller, you know, like who in their right mind would vote for this ticket for Biden-Harris with no explanation as to what their alternative is, you will get shut down. I'm telling you. I'm not zero tolerance for that. So we can have a I will present constructive critiques. I was telling you for months how, like, Kamala Harris, like, she didn't give the strongest performance during the Democratic presidential primary, but I stuck to, first of all, I think, overall, I think she's highly qualified. You know what I'm saying? I've got issues with, like, her past record on different things. But I think there are a lot of things where she's strong on. I mean, she's been fighting that fight, like Danielle said, on a number of key domestic policy issues, whether it's child care. I mean, she's been pushing strong for increased support for child care facilities, child care centers, going through this pandemic. She's been trying to highlight that in a big way, and other things. So, I mean, but there are other things where, yeah, I mean, the record's, it's spotty. And there are things that have to be sorted out, and she has to explain as far as, okay, well, this is what I was doing as a prosecutor. But at the same time, I think it's something she should be proud of. Any black person who's in the position of being the lead prosecutor of a major metropolitan area, or ended up being attorney general of the largest state in the entire country, that's something to be proud of, right? So, I mean, and that's something that you own and you talk about it. So, I'm willing to, I'm definitely more than open to having constructive conversations, and then we figure out, okay, how do we make this ticket better? Because this is the ticket. This is the ride or die moment now. But I'm telling you, come on here. I mean, I'm not going to tell you not to come on here and, express yourself. But as soon as you start saying no vote or holding vote hostage, you will get shut down by Charles Ellison on Reality Check. Full stop. I've been putting people on notice about that. And so last caller, that's where he was going. So he's going to get shut down. There was a couple of people who were like, need to give him a chance to speak. No. This is the wildfire is raging. We need firefighters. We don't need punks. We need firefighters. Straight up. Like, that's what we need right now. That's what we need in this moment. All right. This is Save the World moment. And I'm not playing. I have this vehicle. I am. This is what, honestly, we have Founders Day coming up, and we need to respect the legacy and mission of Dr. Lomax. That's what he would want us to do, is to fight that fight, to be firefighters in a moment like this. This is what my ancestors, this is what my late mother, bless her soul, if she was in a moment like this, she would be like, and she was back then, she was like, fight them fights, fight those good fights. Okay, and this is my vehicle to do that. This was my grandmother. This is how I was raised. Fight them good fights. Shut down the punks, the people, shut down like the open air evil and the bullies and the people who are trying to do wrong, who are trying to harm us, who, protect your community, protect your family, your neighborhood, protect your community. That's the way I was raised. So this whole no vote thing, you're getting shut. I'm not entertained. You are not getting any more than like 5 seconds once you start saying that. Because I'm seeing some alarming numbers here. I just talked to y'all about American University, which I used to go to AU before I transferred to University of Maryland, but American University put out a Black Swing Voter Project last week. This is black voters nationwide 11% saying they won't vote, 10% saying not sure, 6% saying they'll vote for someone else, right? And then that's alarming, and it gets even more alarming when we get to 18 voters, eligible voters, 18 through 29. And then how motivated are you to vote? 55% say definitely. These are black voters. 11% say probably. 15% say 50-50 chance they'll vote. Are y'all crazy? 9% say probably not, and 10% say definitely not. We are not. No, this is. We got to get busy. This time for firefighting. We need firefighters. All right. We don't need clowns. We don't need clowns. We need firefighters. We need straight up like soldiers, warriors on the scene getting this thing done. And then when we win the election, then okay, hey, like sit down with Joe and Kamala, be like, okay, y'all won. Now what? Okay, so this is what we need y'all to do. Let me go to Maurice out of North Philly, who's calling it for a reality check. Maurice.
Charles.
Say what's happening. All right.
Question, Charles.
Okay, go ahead.
You spoke to Danielle, and you told Danielle how she should address her prosecution record, Charles.
Yeah.
And how she should defend it. It's nothing the matter, Charles, being a prosecutor. But the courts in California ruled in her first case, cruel unusual punishment. And the California Supreme Court ruled in her last 3 cases, Brady violation. You can't defend that. So if you understand what them 2 rules were, you can't defend that.
So I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you finish, Maurice. But let me ask this: so you are voting for Biden-Harris in this upcoming election?
I don't know. I don't know who I'm voting for yet.
What's the holdup, friend? Like, we looking for firefighters, Maurice. We're looking for firefighters. What's the holdup? What's the holdup?
As an independent thinker, you got to go over what they.
I mean, I understand that. But listen, we can have all the. We ain't gonna have no independent thinking. Independent thinking will be banned. I mean, if this cat gets a second term, that's not good. Independent thinking won't make a damn bit of difference, Maurice, if President Trump is reelected. And we know that. You know that. Just Maurice, you are a smart brother, Maurice. You know this. You know this. You know how urgent this situation is. And you're telling me you don't know? Are you voting at all?
Yes, I am. But you know,
who's the alternative? What's the alternative? What's the alternative?
Well, Charles, you got to look at it like this, Charles. Now, you said that once they get in office, that we should go and sit down with them and tell them what we want. And anybody
then we go into that. But right now, it makes no damn bit of difference. You know, we saying, oh, we're going to hold votes and this and that, and they don't win the election. Like, that's not going to matter anymore.
Right. Nobody said that. But Charles, you know, right? Because you work political. Once they in office, they don't listen to your agenda. Your agenda must be presented before you get in office, Charles. Not after you get in office.
It's both. It's both. It's a both and. But Maurice, I also understand. But you know what? I've been in this game long enough to understand that politics is a game of addition, not subtraction. Not subtraction.
With politics, Charles. I had partnership with political figures, Charles. So I understand the rules of the game.
But Maurice, are you winning elections? Are you getting your stuff? You helping people win elections and getting your stuff getting yourself sold and passed?
There's no doubt about it. Yes, sir. The only thing I got one vote.
So in this particular case, what do you think is going to happen if Trump gets reelected? You think he's going to push through your policy? This black man out of Philly talking about like economic empowerment for black people. Oh, you think he's going to push that? Oh, you really think he's going to push that? I don't know if you must be like, I don't know, existing in an alternate reality or universe.
No, I understand economics.
Are you just saying that? No, you're saying that. No, you're saying that because you're saying that as that's your cute counter.
No,
like,
I understand economics.
you know that that's not the truth, Maurice. You know that's not the case.
It is the truth.
He is not. When has he shown any indication over the past few years that he's prepared to do that?
I never said I was voting for that man.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You not voting for Biden, either you not voting or not voting for Biden-Harris at this point means that you're voting for him. Vote for him.
Charles, you didn't hear me say that neither.
Okay, go ahead.
You never hear me say that. I just
you twisted it. You twisted it. You swerving around it. You maneuvering around it. You're not being straight. You're not being straight up, Maurice. You're not being straight up.
I am. I didn't say I wasn't. You didn't hear me say nothing about voting for me to know nobody.
Who's the alternative? Who's out there? Is it what the Wizard of Oz is out there running for president?
No,
is going to fix all this?
Still three. You know it's still three, Charles. You know it's still three. We got to wait. We got to see what's going on.
Who's the other person? Who's the third person? What third party is out there?
No, this them two. It's Kamala and Biden versus Trump. So we got to see what they offer. Did they have a debate what they offer yet?
That's false equivalency, Maurice. Wow. I don't understand this false equivalency that y'all keep making. I don't understand. Like, clearly, it's clear as day. I mean, going around in circles is just wasting folks' time and breath, Maurice. Like, it's clear as day. There's a clear, distinct difference. By no measure is Biden and Kamala Harris like perfect, but like that's as strong a ticket as we're going to get compared to like Orange Monster that's in there now. I mean, what else is there? What's your plan?
But the question is, Charles, not what I'm.
But Maurice, why are you going out there saying you don't know and you telling other people that they shouldn't know either? Maurice, I got to move on. Come to me with a plan. I got to let you go, Maurice. I got to go because I got to bring this other caller on. I don't want to take up too much time. Thanks for calling. Woody out of Winfield, who's calling in for a reality check. Woody.
Hey, Charles. Every fighter needs a trainer, so I'm taking that position as your trainer. You're doing a great job, and you're going to win the fight, but you got to start learning to stick and move. You see what I'm saying? You can't just boil all this energy because you're going to run out of wind. So all I'm trying to tell you is I hear you. I'm very proud of you. I'm so happy you made that statement to Mr. Buss. He didn't say it, but you brought up the literacy issue, which was right on point. He had to agree because he already knows. When you deal with Donald Trump's first statement before he became president, African Americans, what the hell you got to lose? Your schools are messed up. You can't get money from your banks, and you're being gentrified out of your neighborhoods. I alone am the only one that can fix it. He's never fixed it, but he already knew it. See, all these people you talk to already know the situation, but the slave was never supposed to know how to read, write, spell, or count, and it's happening today. This is another question I'll put in your head. If you ask the question about school districts, find out if academics are equal in every school district. Now, if you're an academic student, you should be an academic student wherever you are.
Yeah.
Ask that question the next time anybody comes on. Are academics equal, starting from first grade to 12th? Are academics equal in all districts? Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I do.
So all I'm saying to you is you're right on point, man. You're going to win this fight, but you got to calm down. I also want to celebrate and salute Ms. Harris for winning. She will become the first woman, black or white, if she becomes president, if something happens to Biden. You see what I'm saying? That's a position that no woman has held yet. So that's a possibility. So when we look at this whole picture and the framework of it, we have to learn to do defense. Defense. That's how you have to do it. And defense includes the stick and move issue. You know, that was Muhammad Ali, one of the greatest fighters in the world. He knew defense. Let them come to you, and you make sure you stick them. And when you stick them, get out of the way so you can save your win. You need your win, Charles. You need your win. So that's my little spirit talk to you, coming directly from your grandmom again. So keep up the good work, brother. You're doing a great job.
All right. Thank you, brother. No, I appreciate that. Also, breaking news. Thank you, Woody, for calling. Breaking news out of Philadelphia. Philly Art Commission has voted to move the Christopher Columbus statue from Marconi Plaza to storage, pending relocation. So they're going to move the Christopher Columbus statue at Marconi Plaza in South Philly into storage, and then they'll figure out what the relocation situation will look like later on. So that's the breaking news from the Philadelphia Art Commission that's happening locally in Philly today. All right, let's take a break, and when we come back on the other side, we'll head into our citizen segment. Now our citizen segment is today. Rashonda Perryman, who is founder of the Philadelphia Black Giving Circle, is going to be joining us next on our weekly citizen segment here on Reality Check, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, WordRadio.com, Word TV, Word app. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
If you want to start your morning with mindfulness, motivation, and inspiration, tune in to Daybreak with me, Halana, here on WURD Radio, Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 a.m. I'm a health and wellness coach with over 15 years experience helping people to transform their lives. On the show, we talk health and wellness 360, from getting your mind right to getting your money right. So let's rise and shine together right here on WURDradio.com, 96.1 FM, 900 on your AM dial on Daybreak every morning.
Pico has many ways to help you lower your energy usage and save money at home. Here's one. Have an old working fridge or freezer in your garage or basement? Pico will pick it up, dispose of it responsibly, and give you a $75 rebate. That's right, $75. Plus, you can save as much as $150 a year on your energy bill by getting rid of it. Just schedule your pickup at pico.com/recycling or call 1-888-5-PICO-SAVE today. Be sure your fridge or freezer is plugged in and working at time of pickup.
Listen to Laborers Live.
We created the weekend. We created the 40-hour work week. We just want enough to feed our family, be able to send our children to college, and let our next generation do better than we did.
To people that might have forgot how important unionism is in a country like the United States. People now infringing on our 8-hour workday, trying to work people more than 8 hours without overtime, trying to work people without benefits. In the long run, everybody's getting a fat paycheck except the worker. So this is really a wake-up call for America.
The struggle is continuous. Tune in to Laborers Live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Sponsored by LESIT, the Laborers Employers Cooperation Education Trust of the Laborers District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity.
Local 332, Sam Staten Jr. Business Manager. Local 57, Esteban Vera Business Manager. Local 135, Dan Woodall Jr. Business Manager. Local 413, James Harper Jr. Business Manager. The Laborers District Council, Ryan Boyer Business Manager, and Tony Staten, Executive Director of LESIT.
Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on Word Radio and WordRadio.com. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Independent Black Media.
All right, welcome back. It's Reality Check. We're heading into our citizen segment here on the home of Black Talk Media. It's WRD 96.1 FM, 900 AM, WordRadio.com, Word TV, Word app as well. We do our weekly exercise with our partners at the Philadelphia Citizen. Occasionally you'll find the Reality Check column named after yours truly here on WRD. But we do that at the PhiladelphiaCitizen.org. Fantastic magazine, fantastic content and articles. In fact, a recent feature was about Black giving, about Black philanthropy in the city of Philadelphia. It was entitled Full Circle Support. The Philadelphia Black Giving Circle supports Black-led, Black-serving nonprofits while disrupting the field of philanthropy. Catherine Rapin wrote that in a very recent issue of the Philadelphia Citizen, and actually joining us now to talk more about the Philadelphia Black Giving Circle is its founder, Rashonda Perryman. She joins us here on Reality Check. Rashonda, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Charles?
All right, good, good. So for more information, you can go to Philly Black Giving on Instagram, at PHL Black Giving on Twitter. Once again, go to PhiladelphiaCitizen.org to see that recent feature on Philadelphia Black Giving Circle. Shonda, so explain to us, what is the Philadelphia Black Giving Circle? Why did you establish that?
Sure. So first, let me just say that there were a number of us who did it. We were a group of folks who were working in philanthropy in a number of different ways. Some of us were trustees, some were program officers. And we realized how hard it was to be able to get dollars into Black-led organizations, and thought we wanted to do something about it.
Talk about that situation too, about how it is difficult. There's been some recent research that's come to light. We actually had a conversation with that group. It was about a few months ago when that research dropped. I think it was back in May, about the, very alarming lack of dollars that go into Black nonprofits or the Black nonprofit space, despite the fact that Black nonprofits are on the front lines on a lot of these key issues and crucial issues, doing the work but getting less and less of the money. So talk about how complicated and alarming that space is.
Yeah, so, and it's interesting because the same data that you're citing from March, because we keep seeing the same research that comes out. When we started in 2016, it was as a result of some national data and local data from the African American Leadership Forum that really talked about how hard it was to get dollars to Black-led organizations, the fact that they were having to jump through more hoops, jump much higher for less dollars to do more work. And we were seeing that in our own portfolios, just to try to move up grants to our trustees. Some of it is that traditional philanthropy really sort of respects data. It respects the written word. And often particularly smaller, grassroots, community-based organizations, you have to really go in to see what impact those organizations are having. You know, as a philanthropy professional myself, I have to force myself to stop looking at what's written and actually go see for my own self what's happening. And that's where I see impact. And I don't know that all philanthropies do that.
Yeah. A lot of that too in that space, right? The traditional philanthropy sector, a lot of it's based on relationships and networks.
That's right.
So the money is pretty much like is run by, or the resources, the centers of financing are run by white people, and they hoard that money, and they're pretty much sort of looking out for people who are in their networks that look like them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure, right? And I think that Charles, I can't tell you how often I've said this as a philanthropy professional. How often I just get calls from people from universities and big nonprofits. People just call me. They pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Rashonda, can we talk about a project that I'm doing?" I very rarely get those calls. Now I do much more because I've been so much more intentional about it. But I very rarely get those calls from Black organizations. And I think that as a Black program officer, a lot of us are sort of pushing to think beyond how do I get myself out in a place where people feel comfortable enough to give me a call. But that was our emphasis with the Black Giving Circle. How can we sort of open up this process so more organizations are receiving dollars from Black-led or from the Black community itself? Right.
So now explain to us how this works, like how you've set up Philadelphia Black Giving Circle, how that operates, with the whole blueprint and framework looks like.
Yeah, so we started with just like I said, it was maybe 7 or 8 of us that just started having conversations. And we started sort of a steering committee and began to think about what it would take to get dollars out into the community. We thought about what types of organizations. We knew we wanted them to be Black-led and Black-serving. We wanted them to be nonprofit organizations. And we sort of settled at a place that we also wanted these to be smaller organizations. So organizations with annual revenue of less than $1 million, so that we could really target small organizations who are grassroots doing the work. We sort of put some bylaws in place. We actually also talked to some giving circles in other places. We talked to the Sankofa Fund in Pittsburgh. We talked to the Asian Mosaic Fund here in Philadelphia and asked them about, what do you do? How do you sort of get the dollars out? What we heard over and over again from folks is don't try to turn this into some traditional philanthropic process. Get some applications out, see who's doing the work, and put money into the sector. And that's probably the best advice we had. Just get the money out, right? Like, these organizations have been doing the work. They're getting critiqued all the time by traditional philanthropy. How can you move the process so that you just put dollars into the space? And at the same time, really thinking consciously about how we then raise dollars, who we want to receive dollars from.
Right.
How do you create a process that actually serves the community and actually give, for Black people who want to give, how can we sort of create a vehicle where they can give?
Yeah. Well, so what's that been like, in terms of, like, since you had your first grant cycle last year, you raised about, I think it was like a little bit over $30,000 for about 60 members. So give us some numbers, like, in terms of the money that you've been able to raise and also disperse to Black nonprofits. Who are some of those Black nonprofits?
Sure. So currently we're in our second grant making cycle. You're right. Last year we gave out our first round. It took us about 6 or 7 months. We raised a little over $35K to actually put into the community. We were able to give that out to 6 nonprofits. A couple of things that were very interesting. So all of the research that we've done, we did not expect to get the amount of applications that we did. We got over 70 applications, which really, we were trying to have this very loose process. But what that means, when you raise $35,000 and you get 70 applications, right, you then have to figure out how and who you give those dollars from. But even then, we started having interesting conversations about, okay, so it looks like we're going to have to figure out how to get more money to put out. But we went through a little process to get those dollars out. At that time, Another thing we were surprised about, we actually gave out to 3 environmental organizations, the Urban Tree Connection, Mill Creek Farm, Soul Generation. We did not at all expect environmental organizations to sort of come up to the top of our list.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were incredibly surprised about that, and at that point, sort of used some of our networks to push out to some traditional philanthropy, saying like Black people are interested in environment also. But essentially, we got in applications. Our members, people who had given, voted on top organizations, and that's how we got those. So we gave 3 environmental, 1 health organization. We gave to 1 education. We were surprised about that. We thought we'd get lots of education and arts, and we actually did not. But we ended up giving to the Horizons program at Green Street Friends School, which is a summer reading literacy program. And then we gave to 1 criminal justice organization. So 6 in all, $5,000 grants. All of those are sort of small nonprofits in the community. So that was our first round.
Wow. Well, you know, it's interesting that you mentioned, because we have, I don't know if you're aware, we have here at WRD, which, and the genesis of that was from this program, Reality Check. We have an onWURD project, which like focuses like exclusively on environmental justice, environmental issues. Because it's interesting that you said that, because that's always been like my critique of the environmental advocacy space. Like I feel like actually you can make the argument now that environmental issues like pollution, climate crisis, they are like the top issues. They are the most urgent issues for Black people in the 21st century. And we're like on the front lines of those issues. But so often the perception is that like, oh, that's a white issue. That's white people's issues. Because in that nonprofit, that green nonprofit space or green advocacy space, Black people aren't put into, Black, brown people, especially Black people, are not put into leadership positions. We're not having a pop culture conversation or discourse about like things like climate change, about pollution. But here we are, like, you know, we got high amounts or high rates of our kids with asthma, for example, and that's from that pollution, from bad air quality, for example. Or one of the reasons COVID-19 is so bad in our community is because of environmental distress. We got urban heat islands. You know, the hottest places in the city of Philadelphia are places where Black people live with very few trees. So it's very interesting that you said that. Definitely, I feel like at some point I would love to circle back with you offline about like how to find more groups like that and support that work. You know, in urban farming and trying to get people less food insecure. That's very fascinating that you said that. Because that is you know, when people say, well, you know, like, is it really that big of a problem? I'm like, no, it is. Like, we really got to get more of us involved in that environmental advocacy and the green economy and all that. So I really appreciate you saying that too. Sure. I think that's people need to know that. We've been talking with Rashonda Perriman. She is founder of the Philadelphia Black Giving Circle, at PHL Black Giving on Twitter, Philly Black Giving as well. And for more information, you are at what's the main website that people can go to?
They can go to phillyblackgivingcircle.org.
And phillyblackgivingcircle.org, exactly, to get more on and to see how you can get involved. How can people get involved with Philly Black Giving Circle if they want to, they want to volunteer time, or they want to also give money or resources? How are you facilitating that?
So certainly right now, so there are a couple of things that are going on. One, so I told you about our first grant cycle. Our second grant cycle was in response to COVID and racial justice. So right now, we raised over $100,000 in this second grant cycle, which we pushed up pretty quickly to respond to what was going on around COVID and the recent calls for racial justice. That sort of particular work, we really are volunteer-led. We had a group of young, hungry people who wanted to get involved, and we said, please help us. And they've been really helping us craft that out. We gave out $75,000 to some key organizations, Philly Bail Fund, Community Bail Fund, and the Doctors Consortium. And then this other group of volunteers really is helping us push out the rest of our dollars right now as we speak. For folks who'd like to get involved, please go to our website, phillyblackgiving.org. There's an opportunity for one, to give some dollars, Two, we're always looking for volunteers to help us think about strategy. And once we move out of this phase and go to another sort of cycle of giving, we're going to think more deeply about strategy. But Charles, quite frankly, we've been thinking, given the fact that we got those 70 applications, we've been thinking since then, you know, in Black communities, there's such a wealth of professional experiences and skills. How can we leverage some of that? Maybe people don't have money, but they might have. And what we've seen in the history of philanthropic giving for Black people, right? They have skills. We need website designers and marketers and people who build communication plans, all that for nonprofits. So for folks who want to get involved, we're really thinking seriously about how we can, you know, create a portal where, you know, I can use my skills to help needed nonprofits who need it.
Right, right. You know, you might have folks out there who real anxious to give in some way, may not have like the level of income to do, especially during this time with pandemic happening, but maybe want to help in other ways, and maybe they have talent, you know, skill sets that can actually provide even more, or maybe augment more what you're doing than actual money. How have you all been managing through pandemic? It's gotten a lot tougher than how it was, of course, obviously, but explain that. How have you all been pushing through it?
Yeah, so because we started this second grant cycle right as everything started kicking off in terms of COVID, and then, you know, the calls for racial justice that happened after the murder of George Floyd, we've just been sort of moving along through it, right? As something happens, it's been amazing, quite frankly, the amount of dollars that we were raised in such a small amount. Because I work in philanthropy, I know it's not unusual. Lots of Black organizations across this country are pulling in dollars. I mean, I hate to say it, as though racism just started, but whatever, we'll take the money and we'll put it out into the community where it's needed. But that's just what's happening. We work with a fiscal sponsor, the Poise Foundation, which is a Black-led foundation in Pittsburgh. They take in all of the dollars so that we make sure that all of our records are clean. It goes there, and they actually push those dollars out for us. So anyone who gives would give directly to Poise under our fund, and then we tell Poise where we'd like to put them. And like I said, that process, we had those 3 organizations that we had already sort of allocated funding for. But this process to get the rest of those dollars out is being developed right now. We'll give those out at the end of August. Got it.
You know, I want to ask you too, Rashonda, because this kind of reminds me of where this could be. I guess this is a multi-layer question here. One, I was just noticing we may be interviewing them next week. An effort out in Portland, it was featured in the Washington Post recently, and so there's been a lot of buzz and chatter about it, called the Black Resilience Fund. I don't know if you're familiar with it. So
I'm not.
So yeah, there was a brother who teamed up with some other folks in Portland, Oregon. He's a nonprofit executive director, and he was like, you know what? And he just set it up as of like a few months ago, as pandemic was really hitting, especially Black Portlanders hard, and they're about 6% of Portland's population, and it's just a simple fund. They've been able to raise like over $1.4 million, and he's just, no questions asked, no strings attached. He's just cutting checks to Black people in need in Portland. And so are you thinking of something like that, something where I noticed the way when you were talking earlier describing how you're all administering the Philly Black Giving Fund, like you're trying to make this as less bureaucratic as possible, just give the money to folks who are doing the work. Could you see something like that? Because I was talking with people nationally. I'm like, you know, we should be doing something like this nationally. Like, you know, just he just was like, hey, you know what? There are Black folks hurting here during this pandemic. They lost their jobs. They need food to eat. And he's raised a lot of money and is helping a lot of Black folks in Portland out, because there's few of them out there. And I'm wondering if something like that could be replicated or imported in Philly. Is like an organization like yours considering something like that?
Yeah, I mean, we've had all those conversations, right? That, again, right, we started as just a group of folks who were just trying to direct some dollars toward a few organizations. Even before all of this, when we got those 70 applications, we were sort of blown away at the amount of need. And we had over 750 donors just in the last 2.5 months. That unparalleled for, sort of a small giving circle. Now, we've been talking a lot, and we're sort of moving into different strategy and thinking about it, but we've certainly been thinking about, one, how to sustain these dollars, how we think critically about where we get dollars from. Can we leverage what's happening, to your point, around these other organizations? And I will say to you that even in my sort of circles, philanthropic circles, lots of Black people are pushing up and setting up funds across the country for this very thing to take advantage of this moment. I think the question for me is, how do we sustain this, right? This moment is going to end. What do we need to do right now so that we can put some things in place so that we're bringing in dollars this time next year? What's the sustainability sort of pivot at this point that says next year the Philly Black Giving Circle will also still be giving out dollars? Because it's not like racism ends, right? And we surely know that our communities will still be affected by COVID. So how do we do that? What does that look like?
Right. No, I think this is I think this is awesome. I like where you're headed with this, because it's like it's a unified, centralized effort too. That was one of my other concerns. I don't know if you have any thoughts with that. There's, as someone who grew up in Philly, grew up in North Philadelphia, have been watching kind of these activities and the philanthropic, nonprofit, community, civic space in Philly for a long time. There seems like there's all these different, as like an endless array of different efforts, community group efforts throughout the city. And sometimes I worry that, which is great, it's great to see people kind of on the front lines doing work, but at the same time I always wonder about just the lack of coordination, the lack of one people or organization in one section of the city not knowing what another organization that's like-minded and similarly situated is doing. So there's always that lack of unity or unified direction for Black mobilization and advocacy organizations in Philly. This kind of presents an opportunity to help coalesce all that, right?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Or at the very least, be able to direct so many of the foundations who are in the city who have reached out to us saying, who can I give to? At the very least, we should be creating some sort of portal that says, here are the Black-led organizations, here are the sectors that they're serving in, here's how you can get money to them. At the very least, we should do that and figure that out. Again, we're a volunteer-led organization, so figuring out how to do that without actual staffing, we're working through it. But to your point, this certainly creates space and opportunity to really leverage this for that sustainability piece that you're describing.
Yeah. We've been talking with Rashonda Perryman, one of the founders of the Philadelphia Black Giving Circle, phillyblackgiving.org, for more information, also on how to donate. I'm making a commitment now, once I get off air here, Rashonda, I'm going to donate $100 to Philadelphia Black Giving Circle. So I hope listeners out there will match that, or at least try to, give something where you can. But I think this is, I really appreciate this effort. I like where you're headed. I like what I was reading about in the Philadelphia Citizen, and this is what we need to be doing, and doing it more intently like that. So really appreciate this. phillyblackgiving.org for more information. Appreciate the good work you're doing, the good work that your members or people who are relying on you for your support that they're doing too. Rashonda Perryman is the founder. phillyblackgiving.org or Philly Black Giving on Instagram, and at PHL Black Giving on Twitter as well. Rashonda, thanks for your time. Really appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Take care. We'll be in touch. Okay, let's take a break. And when we come back on the other side, we got Heather Howells coming up next for our weekly livelihood segment. Next here on Reality Check, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, wordradio.com, Word TV, Word app. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Weather and traffic to keep you informed for your drive home in the happy hour with Sincerely Sarita, Monday through Thursday, 4 till 7 p.m. right here on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Brothers and sisters, we've seen enough. It's time to get together. We can do big things together, just like they did. President Obama and Vice President Biden passed healthcare reform, helped rescue the auto industry, and created more than 15 million jobs. And right now, together, we can help Joe Biden do it again as president. to unify this country and fix the issues that we're facing right now. Real police reform, expanding access to high-quality education, protecting our right to vote, and rebuilding the economy so that it works for us. Now is the time for us to rise up and do this together with Joe Biden. Go to joebiden.com/Black America to learn more.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for President.
No fear, just facts. This is WURD, Independent Black Media. Join us for our annual Founders Day broadcast, a special on-air celebration of our founder, Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD. Thursday, August 20th from 6 a.m. till 9 p.m. For more information on our annual Founders Day celebration, stay tuned to Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, wordradio.com, and follow us on social media, on Twitter and Instagram at onWURD, and on Facebook at forward. With Charles Ellison right now on Word Radio and wordradio.com.
All right, Heather Howells is going to be joining us shortly here for our weekly livelihood segment. Phone lines are open in case you'd like to join in on that conversation. You have questions. 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check. 215-634-8065. Toll free 866-361-0900. Heather Howell's not on yet. She should be on shortly, but phone lines are open too. You can join in on that conversation at 215-634-8065. Toll free 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check. Really love that. That's part of the work. And I had talked about maybe a couple of days ago, I had mentioned the Black Resilience Fund. More information on that at blackresiliencepfund.com. And this brother Cameron Witten, I've been in touch with him. He's out in Portland, Oregon, and they're doing the work. Just, you know, and I'll be honest, like it kind of embarrasses a lot of major civil rights groups and major national black organizations who should have been doing something like that already or rolling something like that out already. When you have organizations that just want to break through the noise and all the static and the you know, and all the kind of like, you know, slow moviness and bureaucracy in terms of black giving, you know, like Black Resilience Fund and the Philadelphia Black Giving Circle, and they just do the work. They just get it done. They just go ahead and sit down and say, hey, we got to do something. And so I love hearing stories like that, and I try to, whenever I can and wherever I can, support things like that. That's black folks like getting it together and creating their own agency, right? You know, creating their own agency, trying to create an infrastructure, framework to help all of us. You know, I support things like that, and I don't, you know, just like cutting through all the nonsense and just getting straight, like, let's do the work. Let's get it done. Like, what do we do? Okay, so what do we need to do? What's the problem? And then the problem ends up being the solution, right? Or the road to the solution. And so check out blackresiliencepfund.com as well. I'm looking forward to talking with that brother next week. They raised $1.45 million. I mean, that's still like not enough, but that's a lot. I mean, for someone who just put it together as a response to pandemic. Portland is a city of about 650,000. I think there's about 40,000 of the people there are black. And so they need all the help that they can get. And I mean, it's tough for everybody, but especially for black folks, and particularly in places like where they're isolated. Remember, we had the state representative from Portland, Oregon on, Janelle Bynum, who's from D.C. originally. Now she's a state representative, black state representative out in representing parts of Portland. And she was saying, it's beautiful. She's like, it's God's country out here. You know, it's like, I understand why people move out here. And she's right. I mean, Portland is when you see some of the scenery around Portland, it's a very beautiful place. But she did admit, she acknowledged, she's like, it's very, it can be very isolating and alienating, like every day, routinely for black folks here, you know. So she's like, it's a real struggle. So we can only imagine what that struggle is like going through pandemic, and some folks like Cameron Witten doing the work. Then we go back here to Philly. I want to see more of that in Philly, and I am now seeing it like with Philadelphia Black Giving Circle, just keeping it simple and keeping it moving, and just building and building. and seeing where we can find those resources and helping everyone out. And I hope that it can expand beyond just the nonprofits, but now we can do more direct giving, more direct support for our folks who are struggling. Heather Howes is on with us. She's here, regular contributor for our weekly livelihood segment, and phone lines are open in case you'd like to join in. 215-634-8065, toll free 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check. Heather, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
All right, good. I know you probably heard a little bit of my commentary on black giving, on black philanthropy. I don't know. Did you have any thoughts with respect to that? I mean, because we had a black, the head or the founder of the Philadelphia Black Giving Circle, and it's been set up as sort of this unified effort to support black nonprofits in Philly. Like it's essential. I like the way they've set up, and they've been good. They just came about last year. And, they're doing that work. I appreciate that. Black Resilience Fund in Portland, Oregon. I don't know if you've heard of that, but hopefully we'll have him on next week. But how's that space look to you? I mean, like that black nonprofit, black philanthropy space, because they need to play a big role in a moment like this.
They do. There are a number of wonderful philanthropic leaders that I think have been, and governmental folks as well that are kind of my heroes. Out of San Francisco, there's a brother by the name of Fred Blackwell who runs the San Francisco Community Foundation. He's got a real. He used to, be. I think he was in government and like the city manager. I think was his title in Oakland prior to that. And he's always come with a real appreciation for economic development and how to care for our black folks. His mother happens to be Angela Glover Blackwell, who was the founder of Urban Strategies Council and Policy Link, also a real heavyweight thinker about black economics and our role in society and how policy affects us. So I think that there are a lot of, I'm excited to see how many black men and women are also in leadership positions around really important foundations, large foundations. And I'm hoping that they're going to be much more aggressive about digging deeply into not only the little bit of the interest income that they usually just in normal times give away philanthropically, but really think about the corpus. Most of these large foundations are sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars of assets, and it's incumbent upon black leadership of running like big foundations like Ford or Rockefeller and even these big community foundations to say, okay, how can we actually put the corpus to work for the economic, financial, and otherwise, and other types of health of black people, and thinking about how to do that. And so I think that there's a huge role, a very important role for the foundations to play. And you look at the Ewing Kauffman Foundation and what they can do for black entrepreneurship. There's so many different approaches, and it takes a village, meaning it takes like every sector, the for-profit, the non-profit, the philanthropic, the governmental, to make this, to heal up. We are going to, I was thinking about this when Trump first got elected, but every day as we get deeper into it, I didn't know about the pandemic back then, but when we have economists who actually put a financial cost to the damage and the regression we have had as a society on a global basis, we're going to be looking at the trillions of dollars worth of damage his administration has done to us. And it's going to take all of us to be heads down and more creative and less territorial than ever before to heal and take a big leap forward.
Yeah, no, it really is, and that gets back to the next conversation. I want to get your thoughts on, because this is the day after a fairly very historic.
Do you?
Yeah, very very historic political day with Joe Biden selecting Senator Kamala Harris as his running mate pick. Let's talk about the deeper meaning of this beyond the political dimensions, of course, Heather. What this means for women of color. She is a black woman. She is a black.
She
full
is a
stop.
black woman. Absolutely.
Full stop.
Yep.
Like, I don't even want to even get it. I don't even want to dignify. It's hard. I don't even want to dignify that conversation. Like, and I'm seeing some folks here who call themselves smart on Facebook Live, and it's like, y'all not smart. Like, it's like I don't care. She is a black woman, and
of course she is. Of course she is.
You know, our island brethren, our Caribbean brethren, and Jamaican folks, like, they black, and they was dealing with issues down in the Caribbean and slavery, just like we was dealing with that in colonization.
No doubt.
And they were resisted. I mean, folks are trying to give out the impression that they smart on this topic, and they're not. You're sounding really stupid right now. A lot of folks out there. Anyway, before I digress,
I got to give you a couple disclaimers before we talk about the importance of Kamala's opportunity here, and that is that we came up, I'm a little bit younger than Kamala, but we came up in the same community in San Francisco. And so, for example, when I was running for school board, Kamala was running for district attorney the first time. When I had a little bit extra left in my campaign, I contributed it back to her campaign. I was communications director for Gavin Newsom when he ran for mayor while she was running for DA, and did double time to make sure I put her on every platform and promoted her as well. So, and she's a soror of mine. So you need to know that I have I have a certain vested interest and belief in her abilities. What I will say is a black American woman who's a descendant of Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings. So my people have been here for a minute. I am really, a black American experience is mine. And what I will say is, so she was born, and raised in Oakland and Berkeley. She knows what it is like to be treated as a black woman when she, every day of the week, when she went to school, when she walks down the street, et cetera, et cetera. And so I will say that she carries that understanding. It will inform every single thing that she will be able to do as the vice president. And it is a momentous day for all of us to have a black woman on the ticket. We are always, this, but we are always discounted. We're always the ones where we're just assumed to be the ones who are going to do the heavy lifting and the hard work, but we're never supposed to be top of the ticket. And she has been, she was relentless as Attorney General for the state of California. She is smart. She's not afraid. She's not ashamed. She doesn't cower. And I don't want somebody who does. So I think she's a fantastic role model for all blacks, for all women, for all people in this country. I think she comports herself like the professional that she is. She's not going to embarrass anybody. And so, from every way, I think it's a win for us. I think it's also incumbent upon us, and I would say this about a black woman or white people at the helm, it's incumbent upon us as people to hold our elected officials accountable. They work for us. We have to push them to do right by us and not to be lazy about it, not to be beholden to big money, but to really, really be accountable to the people who brought you to the dance. And that's our job to do. And that's not up to any elected official. But I think Kamala, as well as any political leader I know of right now who's in office or wants to be in office, she has the capacity and the ability to represent us properly and to get stuff done.
I think that too. Yeah, thank you for that. I didn't realize that there was all that background there. I knew you were from California.
It would be funny if I didn't tell you all that.
Right. No, I appreciate that disclaimer. Yeah, I had no idea. So I think that helps. Adds a lot of context to this conversation. There's going to predictably we're going to see like the haters and the doubters come out. I'm already seeing it. I've kind of sparred with a couple of folks already on this program, on this segment, and so people know where I stand. And that's anticipated. That's politics, right? There's a professional development aspect of this that really bothers me. It bothered me even when she wasn't my favorite candidate during the Democratic presidential primary, but I still appreciate the fact that folks like her and others, black people who become prosecutors of major cities, or, I mean, she was the lead law enforcement official in the largest state in the country. California is the largest state in the country. It's the 9th largest economy in the world.
And it was the 5th largest economy. You could think of it as a country unto itself.
Into itself, right. So I don't like the insinuation here that black people aren't allowed to be prosecutors. They're not allowed to be police chiefs or attorneys general. Talk about that, like that, how we really handicap ourselves if we want to entertain this discussion about, oh, Kamala is a cop and, you know, oh, they're a prosecutor. Like, what do you think prosecutors do, fam? Like,
Exactly.
That's what, you know, like,
and what
there's a
she
level of
did,
community
what she
security
did from
thing.
the beginning, first of all, she was really unpopular. She took a really unpopular stance from the then and I guess still senior senator of our area when a police officer was murdered by somebody, and she stood firmly against the death penalty. And Senator Feinstein, and she practically came to blows about it because Senator Feinstein felt, and probably still feels, that when it comes to law enforcement, there's a different set of rules. But I'll tell you, Kamala stood by her principles, and I may not agree with everything that Kamala believes, but I do respect that she was real unpopular for a minute right after she got elected because of that, and she stood strong by her beliefs. And so I think all we can expect from political leaders is that they have some integrity, that they tell you what they stand for, and they execute against, against and according to the laws, that govern their behaviors, and secondly, by what the principles they said that they stood for, that you hopefully, chose when you elected them. And so I think it is really hard, especially for blacks. I feel like we oftentimes we have a mentality that can be very much crabs in a barrel. It can be very much if you're not all 100% like me, then you're not enough, you're not right, and this and that. But I'll tell you, the woman went to Howard University. She has been trained properly about the importance and the significance and the power of black people, and she carries that forward every day. So again, I may not be thrilled about her style or her approach on this or that or the other, but she has integrity. She's very smart. She's not soft. She's not gonna she's gonna stand strong, and I believe she has the common good at heart. I really do, and I think it is up to us to hold her feet to the fire, just like any other elected official.
Right, and she's expecting that.
What I don't like is that I think politics self-selects for and sometimes even rewards behavior where you get focused on little special interest groups and personal power, and that's where we have to be unified, and we have to say, no, Kamala, we brought you to the dance. This is what we expect our economic platform for low income, for poor people, for working class, for black, for brown, etc., and hold her to that. And I'm confident she will deliver for us, just like I think Joe Biden will.
Yeah, I think so too. We've been talking with Heather Howes. Heather Howes, who hails from California and is our regular contributor here on our weekly livelihood segment. Go to @Heather Howes. You can also see Heather Howes on LinkedIn as well. She's highly engaged on social media and engaged here with us on Reality Check each week. Heather, thanks so much. Thanks for that backgrounder too, and looking forward to talking with you next week.
Okay, likewise. You have a good one.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right, you do the same. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, let's take a break. And when we come back on the other side, open phone lines at 215-634-8065, toll free 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check. 215-634-8065, toll free 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check. Let's take a break and we'll be right back.
Recovery starts with a call. Pennsylvania's Substance Use Disorder Hotline is staffed by real people who are trained to help. They're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll get you or your loved one into treatment regardless of your access to insurance. If you or someone you know is suffering from addiction, call 1-800-662-HELP. Recovery starts with a call.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Support independent black media and join the Forward movement now at 215-425-7875 or visit wordradio.com. Keystone First VIP Choice HMO SNP Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan has a 4 out of 5 star rating and is one of the highest rated Medicare plans in the region. Keystone First VIP Choice and you are better together. If you live in Philadelphia, Bucks, Chester, Montgomery, or Delaware County and you have both Medicare and Medicaid, choose the Medicare plan that is working to help you get better care. Enjoy extra benefits at no cost to you with Keystone First VIP Choice. You get benefits like dental, vision, and transportation to and from your medical appointments. They also cover a fitness membership to a gym of your choice. $150 toward over-the-counter pharmacy items. There's no copay for doctor's visits. They offer a large provider network, a great prescription plan, dental coverage, and even eyeglasses. Plus, you don't have to wait for open enrollment. You can change your coverage every quarter. Keystone First VIP Choice. The name you trust, the service you deserve. Call Keystone First VIP Choice today at 1-877-686-1760 or visit KeystoneFirstVIPChoice.com. Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on Word Radio and wordradio.com.
All right, welcome back. Phone lines are open. 215-634-8065. Toll free, it is 866-361-0900. Phone lines are open. 215-634-8065. Toll free, it is 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check. Ruben Mills, good afternoon now to you. Thanks for watching and listening. And it seems like you've been listening for a long time here on Reality Check today. Barbara Harris. Yeah, thank you. Barbara Harris, just words of encouragement. Keep up the good work. So, yeah, appreciate that, Barbara Harris. Malcolm White, you need soul. I had a question about if your home is rented. I'm not sure what you're asking that question in relation to. So feel free to log in another comment there to let me know. If she was asking, if your home is rented, do you need permission from the owner? So I'm not sure. I'm sorry about that, too. I'm not sure what that's about. Joey Dixon, peace. As well. Thanks for listening in. And Junior Lee, thank you as usual listening in. Shirley J. Carter. We must make Shirley J. Carter here on Facebook Live. We must make sure that all families in Philadelphia have access to computer technology, including the homeless, since COVID-19 makes education dependent on it. And so I'm very happy to hear. I mean, this new ambitious plan that the city is rolling out, providing free internet access to struggling, qualifying low-income households, more specifically students, especially in Philadelphia. They're rolling that out, the Phil Connect Ed, the PHL Connect Ed, and that will be free. It will be free. We did talk with the city's deputy chief information officer, and that will be free at least for the next 2 years. So we need to make sure that we keep an eye on that funding stream and make sure over the next couple of years we figure out ways to add more to that pot. And also, I think the next big step here is the city and the state and others stepping in, really the federal government. I mean, this needs to be a national thing, but since we're talking about Philly, really need to make this a permanent thing. This should be permanent. We expect streets to be permanent. Like, you don't expect to step outside in the morning and not see a sidewalk and not be able to walk along the street or a bridge, right? So when you're driving your car, when you get out on the highway or something. So it's the same thing with internet. Let me go to Hakeem out of South Philly, who's calling in for a reality check. Hakeem?
Hey, Charles. How you doing, man? Long time
Hey.
no hear from, man.
I know. It's been a minute. How are you doing, sir?
That's good to yourself. Hey, yeah, for all the haters, man, they said the same thing about Obama, when he was running, that, hey, baby, that he wasn't black enough, or you got what? Okay, right.
Yeah.
That he wasn't black enough, and now they say the same thing about Miss
Kamala Harris.
I could never get her first name.
Right.
Name, man. Yeah, but man, I'm voting for it, and man, I hope they pull this thing out, man. I hope they do this thing, man.
Yeah, we gotta get done.
it's time for change.
It really is time for change. It's just time to just save the planet. Like,
Yes, sir.
Like previous elections, it would be about, okay, you just want your horse to win, right? It was about the win. But this election, it's different. It's different this time. I appreciate you saying that too, Hakeem. So,
Yes, sir.
and
You have a nice day, Charles. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you, and it sounds like you were a proud young father out there. If I'm not mistaken, you got the little one in the background, and so see, we as fathers, we get it. Like, this is that moment. It's urgent. Like, we trying to save the world. Trying to save the world. Hakeem, thanks for listening. You still there, Hakeem? You had something to add? No? All right, let me go to Shirley out of Delaware, who's calling for a reality check.
Yes, Charles, thank you so much for taking my call. I just wanted to say, and I appreciate all that you do. I also listen to you when you come on Al Sharpton's show, too.
Thank you.
I just want to say to all of the naysayers of Senator Kamala Harris, I heard a very, very interesting interview yesterday on the Joy Reid show, The Readout, by Nikki Solis, who had been a public defender for over 20 years, working against Kamala Harris. Mm-hmm. And I think it would be very, very interesting for these naysayers to read the opinion piece that Nikki Solis wrote in USA Today, dated August the 10th, with regards to Kamala Harris. She starts out saying, she never thought that, she would be wanting to say anything about Kamala Harris, but she felt that she had to do what's right. So Kamala Harris is not just a hard-nosed prosecutor that people are trying to make her out to be. They need to really, really look at her whole, complete record.
Yeah, I thank you for that. Yeah, Nikki Solis is former defender, public defender in California. USAtoday.com. Check it out, Nikki Solis. Thank you for that, Shirley.
Thank you.
I see it now. Public defender. I wasn't aware of this op-ed, but now I am, and I appreciate you raising our awareness around it. I think I'm reading it as we're talking on air. Title is Public Defender. I worked with Kamala Harris. She was the most progressive DA in California. I grappled with this idea of defending a former prosecutor for a long time, but I have to say what I feel is right to set the record straight on Harris. Having had this experience, I feel compelled to speak on Harris's record while she was a district attorney. Simply put, Harris was the most progressive prosecutor in the state. That this is not an anecdotal opinion. It is based on facts. I mean, it's like, people are unpacking Harris's record. This is a public defender who doesn't have to do this, and is probably getting a little bit of side eye and shade from her colleagues in the public defender space, and other progressives too. But she's doing it, and people are not really reading up or studying that record. One, or it's like with Joe Biden and the '94 crime bill. Like, folks are acting like they're think tank experts on the '94 crime bill. Never read it. Like, never read it. So it's like, don't know exactly. They just hear 94 crime bill. And it's like, it's thank you, Shirley, for calling. And, come on. You're going to have to study up. And like we said, we know Kamala Harris is not perfect, but this is as near perfect for this moment, a ticket against the current dictator in the White House that we're going to get. Constance out of Germantown is calling in for a reality check. Constance?
Hello, Charles. Thanks for being there. I really enjoy you as always.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I agree with you and the last two callers 100%. Number one, you stole my thunder. People should do their own research. Mm-hmm. Look at her entire record. When you're looking at someone that's telling you how much he loves the Confederate flag. He makes no bones about saying how he feels about the community. I don't understand. Sometimes I'm thinking that African Americans, they hate each other far more than the KKK hate us, the white nationalist hate us. Because some of these callers, it brings tears to my eyes. I don't know what they want. We lost a hero in John Lewis. Mm-hmm. You will hear some say, it will not do any good. This man was beaten. And before he died, he said, we have come a long way, but we're not there yet. For those that didn't get beat, for those that did not have to count the jelly beans, how dare you? How dare you? And the ones that's probably complaining, they only listen to the radio. They take no time to do their own research. And it's sad because you will not have, as you said to Maurice, you will have none of what you're waiting for if he gets in. You will not have a democracy. You will be beat down any time he felt like it with the federal troops. Come on. What does it take for us? Why are we always so cruel to each other? She's bright. I didn't agree with everything about Kamala, but she's bright. And I watched her hearings. She is tough and she's smart.
Yeah.
And before she won this nomination as vice president, I always felt out of all of them she could handle Trump in a debate.
Yeah.
She's no joke. I mean, what do we want? And personally, a lot of black men that listen to Word, they're women haters anyway. I've listened to this a long time. Solomon even called them out before. So come on, guys. Stop it. Stop it.
Yeah. Or you know, I mean, people are going to have their opinions, Ms. Constance. I appreciate you too. I appreciate you sharing that. People are going to have their opinions, and people have a right to express those opinions. But you know, go ahead.
Thurgood Marshall said, I never forgot when I was reading his book, what's the difference between a black snake and a white snake? They both bite.
Right.
And that comes from Thurgood Marshall. And you know what? Nate said, look it up.
Look it up. Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Constance. I appreciate you. Thank you for that. You get the last word, too, on today. And you people have got right to those opinions, but you know, was how the song go, like with the old song, you know, move, get out the way, get out the way. Don't get in people's way. Don't get in the way of this good work that people are trying to do in this moment. You know, so I mean, like, you know, once again, like the haters I mean, it's the brothers out here who have problems with Kamala Harris and want to bring up like stuff that's irrelevant. Like, it's you're contradicting yourselves, because you keep saying you want to have a policy conversation, but then you bring up all these personal things about her. Well, like, either you're going to have a conversation with substance or you're not. Like, which conversation are we having? Because that stuff's irrelevant. Like, that stuff's irrelevant about, like, who she married to, her lineage, and because she is a black woman. You know, we've had that conversation before in this program about, like, you know, black folks need to wake up as far as, like, when we need to act more as a diaspora. I mean, so there's a big diaspora moment that I think is very powerful here that we need to embrace and need to wake up to. So, but, you know, don't get in the way. Because it's like, you know, we the firefighters, we're trying to put out the fire, and here y'all blocking the road, you know, getting in the way, trying to, you know, psych people out and have conversations about other things, and trying to, you know, also, you know, mislead people. You know, we've got some really alarming numbers here. I see these polls, I share them all the time here on Reality Check. We've got some work to do to get people turned out and mobilized, in addition to the pandemic and people being nervous about that. So, like, you know, either you're here to do the work or you're not. And if you're not doing the work and you're actively going out, like you calling into a program like this and talking about, I'll hold my vote, or you know, you in the way. You part of the whole Trump thing. Like, no, you are. Like, you a card-carrying member of the Republican Party, and you a white nationalist. That's your thing. So we've identified you as folks in the way. You the enemy. You the fire. You are the brush fire. So we need to extinguish you. You get out the way. Get out the way. We need to put out the dumpster fire. That's what we up to, and that's what we're going to do on this program. And I know other programs as well here on WRD. So let me now wrap this Wednesday midweek edition of Reality Check. We'll be back, God willing, tomorrow, Thursday, 10 a.m. I will be on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton today, later on, and you will hear that later on here on WURD. And continue to reach me twitter.com at Ellison Report or cellison at wordradio.com. Definitely, I try to keep track of those emails and respond to them as best I can. And thanks everyone for listening in and leaving your comments there at Facebook Live. Thank you. Good morning. For those I didn't say good morning, good afternoon to, good morning, good afternoon now. Thank you. Philly and beyond want you to stay smart, stay sharp. More importantly, please stay safe out there. Have a great afternoon, great evening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. The source for the Black Women's Leadership Council is coming up next.